Hello and welcome to the running of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross circuit. Coming to you, this is round one from Appin in New South Wales. Dennis Newland and Michael Gilbert bringing you the action on this series. Of course, this series held over 4 rounds, Michael, and Craig Dack, the defending 3 times Mr Motocross champion.
Yes, that's correct, Dennis. There we see a picture of Craig. It's going to be some great racing here today. We've got Eddie Warren, the likes of Glenn Bell, Peter Melton, Team Yamaha. We've got Steve Maguire. We've got a plentiful amount of riders out there that any one of them could take the title away.
Well, of course, too, Michael, Craig Dack looking for his own piece of motocross history here to become the first man to win 4 consecutive titles as we watch the action unfold here at Appin. And this is round one. There's 3 by 25-minute motos as they charge down into the first turn, Michael, and a jumble of riders coming through turn one.
James Deacon that's pulled the whole shot there. As we can see the other riders following through. They'll see a quick glimpse of Lyndon Hefferman, Phil Robinson.
Certainly a jumble of riders going through these early laps. Vital, Michael, to get a good up-front running position.
Yeah, they certainly are. The first 5 riders would have an advantage on the rest of the pack. They've got to pull away. They've got to really concentrate now and try and really pull a big lead on the rest of the pack. As you can see, they're jumbled up as they head up the hill into the first burn.
That's right, too, and of course, one down there as the field continues on through. But Eddie Warren, also the very well-performed American rider, he's got to be one of the pre-race favourites for the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross.
Definitely, Eddie's showing his talents in the Supercross arena, but outdoors this year he hasn't been having a great deal of luck, so this series certainly will tell the tale.
Well, this is the opening lap, and of course, Craig Dack, there he is on screen riding Yamaha bike number 5.
Sorry, Dennis, there we just see young Ben Parise from Unundilla here in New South Wales. Made a really, really good start there, and he's mixing it with the top boys, so that's good to see.
Certainly good to see too. And as I said earlier, 3 by 25-minute motos. That's pretty physically demanding, Michael, around a circuit like Appin.
It certainly is. Shane King and all these boys put in a lot of effort during the week, and it's a very physically demanding sport, presumably the most physically demanding sport in the world.
As we watch Craig Dack there move up behind James Deacon from Queensland, and certainly an interesting battle developing here, Michael, as the rest of the field streams through.
Yes, we've got James and we've got Craig moving up on the back of James right now. Craig's going to be looking for some early passing manoeuvres because he doesn't want to get caught behind these other guys now. He wants to make a big charge, and there we see him making a charge through. Shane King's pulling away now up the front. He's got the big advantage because he's got a clear field ahead of him, and he hasn't got any rocks or any mud and stuff hitting him up in the face, and that can sometimes slow the rider down.
Certainly can. Of course, Shane King riding a Yamaha machine, and Shane King from New Zealand, as we concentrate on this battle. And certainly Craig Dack, a beautiful pass there too. Now he's really running strongly and obviously coming into strong contention here, Michael.
He is now. He's got to get through Troy Doran, which is just number 20 there, and he's making a move on Troy now as they hit the tabletop. Troy's blocked the line very good there. That's excellent riding there by the young Victorian rider.
He is good riding there, but he's got his hands full here, holding back a hard charging, hard riding Craig Dack. Dack looking on the inside, a good, but Doran comes again on the inside. Oh, great racing this, Michael.
Yes, it certainly is. I think Craig will get him up the hill here. As you can see, the suspension working overtime.
Down through the bottom section there once again.
Oh, Craig's made the pass down there on the doubles on the downhill stretch.
So that moves up Craig Dack, one more position in the field, and Craig Dack now becoming the big threat.
Dennis, I don't know if you saw there, but he just pulled a tear off from his goggle. Now that's cleared his vision there. He should have about 3 more left. I usually try to pack on about up to 6 tear-offs there per race, and he's making a move here on Ben Parise, so he's just passed him there for second spot.
Something like 2 laps remaining now too, Michael, and Craig Dack, as I say, doing it beautifully. And Craig Dack, a 3 times winner of the Mr Motocross series, and he's looking to equal the record and not only become the first 4 consecutive years winner of a motocross series, but to equal the 4 victories of Stephen Gall. And Craig Dack doing a beautiful job there too as he comes through. And Michael, the Mr Motocross series, first run in 1974 and won by Trevor Flood. Over the years, it's really developed into a very, very prestigious event.
Dennis, it certainly has. It is the Supremo event on the calendar. Actually here, I'll just stop that there for a second. We see Craig making a big move on the inside now on Shane King.
But certainly Shane King really sticking to his guns, but there's absolutely nothing in it at this stage, Michael.
No, there certainly isn't. Shane's really put on the pace now, and Craig is also turning up the wick, so it's going to be an interesting few corners here.
Well, it certainly will be too. The lap's starting to dwindle, and this is the opening moto. 3 motos planned this afternoon. This is round 1 of a 4-round series as we watch this titanic struggle for the lead continuing.
As we see Shane King now coming into this bottom off camber turn, we see Craig following his line there, but I think Craig will opt for another line up the top of this hill and try and actually block Shane and move onto the inside and try and make a move on this back straight here. There we go. That's Craig into the lead there. That was a really good manoeuvre there. He thought that out. He saw where Shane was going, and he opted for that inside line, and it's paid off, hasn't it, Dennis?
Well, it certainly has too, and there's no doubt about Craig Dack. He is the high-profile rider of motocross action and very much a part of the national scene, a very well-performed rider, a gifted rider, and he's now leading. This is as I said, the first moto, and Craig Dack, the race leader.
Yeah, there we see Glenn Bell, number 2, seated in the series, coming up behind Ben Parise. Now that also will be a good battle. They're both Team Honda riders, and their bikes both fairly well evenly matched. And
I might add too, Michael, it's Eddie Warren, well back in the pack. Uncharacteristic for Eddie Warren.
Certainly is. Eddie didn't get a very good start there. He's going to have to make a lot of ground now to work back through the pack. Actually, it's caused him quite a bit of grief now. Like I was saying before, when the riders do get a mid-pack start, they find it very difficult to come back through the pack and chase the leaders.
Well, of course, too, for the people that don't know, as far as motocross racing is concerned, just tell us a little bit about the type of machines that they are riding.
These riders are racing 250cc machines. They're water-cooled, disc brake powered engines. They've got enormous stopping power and great torque through the engine range. They're Japanese manufactured, and the top 4 brands, obviously, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Honda and Yamaha.
Do you have any idea of the approximate horsepower ratings of these machines?
Dennis, no, I've only raced the beast myself. I haven't gotten into the horsepower factor, but these bikes put out a sizable amount of horsepower, as you can see now, as they power up the main straight. The suspension's working overtime, both front and rear. They're fitted with upside down forks there, as you can see, as they come through the rut. So the fork level is a little bit higher, and they're not getting stuck in the berms, what have you.
Well, that's Lee Hogan on bike number 15 there. He's from Victoria, and that moves him up now into 2nd position on the racetrack, relegating Shane King, who's ridden superbly, back to 3rd position. So the top 3, Eddie Warren, Craig Dack, the race leader. In 2nd position we have Lee Hogan, and currently in 3rd position is Shane King. There's Craig Dack on screen, setting off now on his final lap, Michael, and I guess he'd be pretty happy with himself on this performance.
He certainly would, and he'd be getting tired too. He has to be very careful now on the last lap. He has to concentrate wholly and solely on the race ahead, not let any distractions get in his way. He has to not so much look behind him and just worry about the track ahead.
That's right. Well, he's certainly been the star performer in this opening race on the card this afternoon at Appin, a beautiful circuit, the Appin racetrack. And there's Craig Dack doing it nicely out in front. Running in 2nd position, as I said, is Lee Hogan from Victoria, and still in 3rd position, having ridden superbly, is the New Zealand representative here this afternoon, Shane King, riding a Yamaha. And there's Craig Dack now taking the checkered flag, so officially placed first. Going back to the pit area, Craig Dack, waiting on the other riders now to complete the journey as they come down through the section of the course there. And just about set now to complete his run was Lee Hogan, officially placed 2nd from Victoria. A good ride by Lee Hogan.
It certainly was, Dennis. Sorry for cutting in. And here we come, Glenn Bell finishing over the tabletop there in 3rd position.
Okay, well, earlier at the press day we spoke with Craig Dack.
Craig, thanks a lot for allowing us to spend some time with you just before the Mr Motocross.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a nice day for it, and I think with the way things have been going today, it's a fantastic venue, this MacArthur Park. They've never used it before in the Mr Motocross series, and the promoters, Shone and Fenton, have done a fantastic job. They're giving us like 4 or 5 hours practice on the track today, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm really impressed by the job that they've done here.
The Marlboro Yamaha dealer team, of course, yourself and Peter, big things expected?
Well, we're just taking the first round as it comes. I mean, the first round of any series is always exciting, and everybody's trying to get those first points on the board. But we're just trying to get out with some good, solid points. And you know, I have very good. My times around here today are very good, and I've been doing a lot of testing and developing on the bike. And every developing stage that we've done has been a forward progress. So, you know, as I said, my times are good, and I feel very good about it. And yeah, it's going to be a nice day Sunday.
Other rounds in this series, round 2 will be held at Broadford in Victoria, the third round at Tivoli in Queensland, and the fourth and concluding round in Gilman in South Australia, comprising the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross, as we watch riders prepare for the second moto this afternoon.
Yes, it is. They're just holding up the 10-second board there. It'll be flipped around to 5 seconds. Now, any time within that, the gate will drop.
Just about set for a start. This is the second moto of the afternoon.
Okay, and it's a good start there. It seems that like Shane King has pulled the whole shot. No, it's James Deacon. No, oh, they're sorting themselves out now as they round the first turn.
That's right, Michael. Certainly riders sorting themselves out there, looking for an advantage as they set off in the second moto this afternoon. Craig Dack, of course, the winner of the opening race on the program. Shane King also well positioned and running strongly there. One up high too was Stephen Andrew from Victoria, as the rest of the field streams through.
Yeah, and here we see heading up the hill now. Yeah, and look at that there. That's Glenn Bell making a quick move there on Shane King. Glenn's got to try and get through the pack as quickly as possible and get out in front, so he's not bothered by any of the debris and stuff being sprayed up by Shane's bike.
Well, of course, Glenn Bell picked up a major placing in the opening race, so he'll be looking to add to his already very good point score. Of course, this, Michael, is an ongoing point score series, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's a cumulative point score over the 4 rounds to see who will be this year's Mr Motocross winner.
Well, and of course, speaking of winners of the Mr Motocross series over the years, there's been some great riders as we watch the action unfold in the second race.
Sorry, Dennis. There we see Glenn Bell. He did a bit of a scare tactic there on Shane. He got a real lot of airtime off that sky jump and landed right next to him. He saw Shane's head. He just turned around and had a bit of a look-see. So he certainly knows Glenn Bell's on the charge.
Yeah, certainly, as I said, Glenn Bell, one of the very well-performed riders here this afternoon, and already a prominent point scorer from the opening round. The series, Michael, of great interest, and it holds the spotlight as far as motorcycle racing in Australia is concerned. And I guess this year, with the riders, the ilk of Eddie Warren and Craig Dack, it promises to be a great series. Glenn Bell, certainly some great riders on display for the race fans.
Yes, there is, and there's a lot of young up-and-comers. Here we see Dean Burt back there. Phil Robinson, who actually gave the sport away for quite a number of years, is making a comeback now on his Kawasaki machine. Lyndon Hefferman there, and then we see Craig Dack making a move on Phil Robinson and Lyndon Hefferman. So he didn't get a very good start, and obviously working his way back through the pack.
Yeah, well, certainly Craig Dack doing that very well there. There he is, bike number 5 on screen at the present time.
Yeah, and he's going to concentrate now very hard on number 2 and number 17, both Glenn Bell and Shane King respectively. These two are going to be battling and maybe losing a few seconds, while Craig's got time to concentrate on forging ahead and making some passing manoeuvres on them.
Well, that's right too, Michael. There is we watch number 2, Glenn Bell, riding the Honda machine. He's on screen there. Bike number 17, Shane King from New Zealand. And speaking of New Zealand, Michael, the motocross scene in New Zealand, obviously, is it as strong as Australia, or is it improving? Or
it is quite strong over there. I was over there a couple of years ago to watch one of the New Zealand championship rounds, and Shane King and both his brother Daryl King are the prominent figures in motocross in that country. Those two have been unstoppable now for the past 3 or 4 years, and they're just going on stronger and stronger every year.
I guess also too, Michael, we're interested in the performance of Eddie Warren. We've already been discussing his riding expertise, and Eddie Warren at this stage, I think he's probably well back in the pack once again.
Yes, he is. Obviously hasn't got a very good start. Actually, we see Craig Dack, number 5, making a move on Dean Burt, the Victorian rider, number 7. Actually, God, there we go. Craig's taken the inside line and busted through there and past Dean. Dean won't be too happy about that. I'm sure he left his guard open by going out wide, and Craig was able to duck on the inside rut and pass him.
Okay, there's Glenn Bell riding bike number 2 as we watch once again Craig Dack on bike number 5. Beautiful jump that time, and down into another turn once again as the laps unfold in the second moto of the afternoon. Bike number 17 there, Shane King, Yamaha powered machine, as he negotiates that jump once again, and Glenn Bell right behind.
Yeah, maximum style points there for young Shane. He's riding very hard, obviously, and Glenn Bell's not about to give up. He's chasing him very hard for the lead, and then we see Craig rounding that berm there. Craig's going to be putting in a maximum effort now because the laps are dwindling down, and he's going to start having to make a move. There we see actually number 4, Stephen Andrews, passing Lyndon Hefferman there on number 12. Now, those guys are going to be battling out for the minor places, but it all makes a difference with the cumulative point score over the rounds.
Okay, the lap's still unfolding, and certainly, as I say, the action really coming thick and fast in this Carrick Video Motorsport presentation. Once again, Craig Dack certainly saying his name a lot of times, and Craig Dack there on bike number 5, but boy oh boy, he's a talented rider, there's no doubt about it.
Yes, and he also, sorry Dennis, he also has a very well prepared bike. These Marlboro riders and their mechanics put in a lot of effort on development and actually setting up of the machines prior to these events. As you can see, they have to, because the ruts, the obstacles, the sharp rutted berms, what have you, it's all very important to get that bike handling good. It's going to spit you over the handlebars and cause you some pain.
Well, there once again on screen is Glenn Bell. Oh, a beautiful jump that time by Glenn Bell.
Well, he certainly did. He just flew straight past Shane, and we saw that in the last moto as well. That's where Shane had a bit of a look-see, and that's Glenn now into first place. Now, Shane's obviously going to learn by that if the same thing happens in the next moto, but Glenn flying high there, and just a little bit of a look down, and Shane's obviously going to be disappointed with that.
Yeah, I guess he would be too, but still not taking anything away from Glenn Bell. That was a beautiful ride, beautiful performance by Glenn Bell on the Honda powered machine. Glenn Bell, that's bike number 2, and he's now leading the second moto, and a great performance there. There's Craig Dack once again, and just ahead of him is Shane King.
Yes, it is. Now Craig's going to do some major damage to Shane if he doesn't get out of the way, because it looks like he's in a big hurry to go and catch Glenn Bell. Now, Shane will be quite aware of that. He would have looked across at some point or another on the track and realised that Craig's head off for a bad start, and is going to be chasing him down really quickly.
Well, there's not too much of a gap, as you just saw Glenn Bell just go out of camera range there. So it's certainly well within striking distance of Craig Dack, this second victory of the afternoon.
It certainly is, and we see Craig making a move up the hill now. Shane's going to try and cut him off, but Craig's battling fiercely. He's switched the line to the inside there, and not much Shane King, could do about that.
Oh, that was a beautiful manoeuvre there by Craig Dack. Now he sets his sights on Glenn Bell, and as I said, not too much distance between first and second on the racetrack. The race lead held down by Glenn Bell on the Honda powered machine, and this man putting in the big charge, bike number 5, Craig Dack on the Yamaha.
Yeah, Dennis, about 3/4 of the way through there. There we see Eddie Warren actually moving back through the pack as well. He's moving up there with Peter Melton, also the another Marlboro Yamaha dealer team rider. There we see poor old Lyndon Hefferman and Dean Burt having a bit of a collision there, and they're both up safely and away again.
But certainly well out of contention.
Yeah, they certainly are.
But still the interest at the head of the field. Here it is, and boy, there's not much distance between them now, Michael.
No. Sorry, Dennis. No, they certainly aren't. Craig's going to be making a hard charge now. We've seen him pick up a lot of ground through this section here of the track. He really knows how to nail those ruts, and he's moving really quickly through there, and his bike's handling extremely well. Seems to be actually handling a little bit better than the Honda of Glenn Bell's.
That's exactly right. That was the point I was just going to make. Certainly Craig Dack, a beautiful handling machine here, and oh, look at this. Certainly great action here. Glenn Bell, the race leader, but here comes Craig Dack. Glenn Bell on bike number 2, and Craig Dack on bike number 5.
Yeah, we saw that now. Glenn Bell, obviously... Oh, gee, look at that. Craig came very close to the back wheel of Glenn there. They're moving down in this rut here where he got Shane King before. Now he's setting him up. See, at the moment now, all he has to do is just sort of ride behind Glenn, watch the lines that he's not taking. Oh, and he's moved onto the inside there. That's oh, God, there's a bit of elbow shoving, and that's seen Craig head off into first place there. That was good riding by Craig.
Certainly was, certainly was. And Craig Dack, the race leader, a beautiful performance, looking for the second consecutive win of the afternoon. Craig Dack riding bike number 5. And I guess, though, Glenn Bell shouldn't feel too disappointed either, Michael. A good performance by Glenn Bell.
Yeah, it certainly is. Glenn's put under a lot of pressure there. He's had to put in a lot of time in the first half of the race. Now that's obviously caused him to lose a bit of his energy, and Craig's captured on that and taken advantage of it.
As we watch Craig Dack now heading down to the checkered flag to take out the second moto of the afternoon. And there he goes now, just heading back now to the pit area. A good performance there by Craig Dack.
Yes, it was. And there we see Glenn Bell crossing the tabletop there, obviously a little bit tired. And Shane King finishing in third.
So consistency too from Shane King and Michael also to Glenn Bell. Glenn Bell well performed, and earlier this afternoon we spoke with the man in question, Glenn Bell.
Glenn, the 1990 Mr Motocross season, a very demanding one. Round 1 here at Appen of the Mr Motocross race. It should be a great one.
Yeah, it should be. You know, Mr Motocross is back, and so are all the riders, you know, with Craig Dack and Eddie Warren. So it should be a good tussle.
You mentioned Craig and Eddie. Are they the two to look out for? There's a cast that still want to go fast of other riders too.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of up-and-coming riders, but for the Mr Motocross series, I think Craig Dack and Eddie Warren are the main contenders because, you know, this year we've won all the events contested.
The 1990 season, as I said, has been a very competitive one. A lot of racing already. It's only May. There's been a lot of racing and still a very busy schedule ahead.
Yeah, this is the most hectic year, 1990 season. And we've been racing almost every weekend all across the country. So, yeah, it is a very hectic schedule, and, you know, it'll just keep us all on our toes.
Just about set for a start now in the third moto of the afternoon. Craig Dack, the point leader, on 40 points, 20 points for a win. But interesting to note, in second position is Shane King, and he currently holds down a score of 30 points.
Yeah, they're ready for a start now. The gate's dropped. Gee, it's a tight first turn, isn't it? Look at that.
It is, Michael, a tight first turn. Riders battling for positions there as they run down into the first turn. Oh, and there's a couple in bother there too as the rest of the field streams through. Action coming thick and fast here this afternoon. And as I said, just reiterating the points, 20 points for a win, 17 for second placing, 15 for third, and 13 for fourth, and so on down the line.
And it looks like Eddie Warren now is pulling away from the pack. He's got young Troy Doran right up his back there, and he's going to have to be putting on a gallant effort to pull away from the rest of this pack.
Well, Eddie Warren in the first race scored 6 points and then followed up with an 8-point score. So he's currently on 14 points and needs to make up a fair bit of ground as we head through this final moto of the afternoon in the first round of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross Series. So a little bit of ground to make up for Eddie Warren, Michael.
Yes, he has, and he's got everyone cheering on his back fender now. As you can see, they're all battling up there for second place. We see David Armstrong into second place now.
Yes, David Armstrong doing well, but certainly Eddie Warren setting the rest of the field a merry chase. Of course, Eddie Warren, the very well-performed American entrant in the motocross series, and looking for good points here in the final race. But the rest of the field not too far behind Eddie and keeping him honest.
No, that's right. Eddie's been living here for a couple of years now and made this his new home. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. He's a hard charger indoors, but outdoors he doesn't seem quite to be able to hold the pace. So this certainly will tell a tale.
It will indeed too. There's Glenn Bell on bike number 2. He's also scoring some good points here. 13 in the first race this afternoon. 17 points in the second race by virtue of his strong performance for a second placing there, and well up on the point scores at the present time.
Gee, Troy Doran's riding well. He's got magnificent starts all day. So too is Lee Hogan, the Team Kawasaki rider, number 15. as you can see now, they're all starting to move in on Dave Armstrong. Here we see young Lee Hogan make a big move on the inside there on David. Now, yeah, we'll see the picture comes into screen there. Lee got past him, and we've got four riders now back in there for third place.
Yeah, great battle going on, Michael. There's Craig Dack, bike number 5, but yes, a great battle for those minor placings here. This is probably developing, I would say, into the best race of the afternoon. Certainly plenty of scraps going on through the field.
Certainly is. There we see Glenn on the outside, just nails it through that corner.
Great effort there, great effort, Craig Dack. There's Glenn Bell. And this is certainly an exciting scrap here. Glenn Bell riding bike number 2, and as I say, the Honda powered machine.
Glenn's been getting so high all day. He really must have that suspension working overtime, I tell you.
Well, indeed, there's bike number 6 on screen at the present time, and oh boy, some great action here this afternoon. The fans really getting their money's worth this afternoon.
Well, look at this now, Dennis. We've got young Lee Hogan, the 16-year-old from Victoria, making a move on veteran USA racer Eddie Warren. So both Team Kawasaki 1 and 2 at the moment.
Yes, indeed. And Lee Hogan, the big mover from Victoria, now taking the race right up to fast Eddie Warren. And there's Eddie Warren on screen riding bike number 1. And not too far behind is Lee Hogan, bike number 15, also there too, Glenn Bell. And they in turn were tailed out by Shane King on the Yamaha. Shane King and the field down into the bottom section, Glenn Bell too. And here's a great scrap for the lead position down through the S's once again. A great battle this for first and second.
Yes, Eddie's going to really have to watch his lines now and make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, because I know Lee will capitalise on it in the split seconds. Lee just went for the inside turn there, and here we're looking at 4th place, and we're back to the leaders again.
Yes, and here it is. There's Eddie Warren, and now...
There we go, Lee. Oh, Lee's pushed the back. Oh, he gets mega airtime there. That was great move there by Lee. He set Eddie up so well and into the lead. That's amazing for that young guy.
That was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Great track manoeuvre. An absolutely brilliant piece of riding by Lee Hogan, bike number 15 on speed.
Out a bit wide there. See, Eddie. See, he's putting the pressure on now, and Eddie's going to back on the inside now. Oh God.
Well, a great battle this, the final race, and here it is, the battle on screen for first and second, an enthralling dice this. Bike number 15, Lee Hogan, Eddie Warren the next man through. They in turn were tailed out by Glenn Bell, so there's your 1, 2, 3 in the third moto, and here's Glenn Bell around the outside of Eddie Warren. Oh, great battle this. Eddie Warren fights back on the outside and gains that second position once again, and if anything pulls away, but here's Glenn Bell charging once again down into the bottom section. The top 3, really not too much between first and third. Eddie Warren on screen, and the hard charging, hard riding. Oh, magnificent performance there by Glenn Bell.
Certainly was. Glenn just jumped straight past Eddie there over that tabletop jump, and God, he's going to really make a charge now. I think he really wants that lead real bad. See, as you can see, he just took a tear off from his goggle there just to get a bit of clear vision as they head up the uphill flyover.
Yes, that's right, but it's still young Hogan out in front. Eddie Warren in second position, and in third position now, Michael, is David Armstrong.
Yeah, David's charged back through. I'm not quite sure what has happened to Shane King. He must have had a bit of an upset there, and obviously the more experienced David Armstrong's taking advantage of that. As you see, as they're heading up the hill there, the suspension's working overtime. They're getting what you call accelerating ruts, and bumps coming out of the outside of that corner now. That does play a toll on it. So yeah, here we have Craig Dack in 4th place now.
Well, Craig Dack with a bit of ground to make up this time, in an unusual position this late in the race for Craig Dack.
Yeah, it is. Now Glenn's really putting up the wick now and wants to haul in young Lee. He's really showing his experience now on the campaigning the Mr Motocross series now for a number of years. Changed bikes from Team Yamaha, now he's with Team Honda, and for the last 3 or 4, and he's been having a marvellous success with them. Now, there we see him on the outside there, really putting the pressure on the young Victorian. Kawasaki mounted Lee Hogan. Now, oh, geez, going to go for the inside turn there. Lee's drifted a little bit wide as they head up over the flyover. I think Glenn will head around the outside now and try and take the outside of this berm. Lose them a little bit there in picture as they head back down the hill. It's still Lee. Now Glenn moves to the outside. He's really setting Lee up now. He knows what lines Lee's taking, and he's just waiting for to capitalise on Lee's first mistake.
Well, that's right. I mean, certainly the fact that Lee Hogan, what sort of pressure would he be going through right now, Michael? Obviously, a young man with the future in front of him in motocross, but plenty of pressure on him this time.
Yeah, there would have been. He would have received a lap board signal from his pit crew back there, just telling them exactly what position and what situation he was for the last lap. I mean, he would know that, obviously, with Glenn chewing at his back wheel there like that. But here we see Craig Dack making a move on Shane King now, while the other two are battling up in front. See, Craig's been taking that line so good all day, and he's just capitalised on that and just taken Shane. That was a great move.
I think he's now up into third position on the track at this stage.
Yeah. Now we're going to see Lee try and hold out. See Glenn's bike there. Oh, Glenn, no way. He's hanging all over that bike. I think he's just going to settle for second now because he's just trying too hard. And as you can see, Dennis, big loss of concentration.
Yeah, certainly was. That's for sure. And this, of course, has allowed Hogan now to skip clear and virtually wrapped it up for him.
Yeah, last lap now, I think. And Lee's just putting in the paces now and working that bike and just going to make sure he concentrates and doesn't make any mistakes. That's the main thing. Young Lee's young hero also in America, what we've compared him to over here is Damon Bradshaw, a Team Yamaha rider in the US of A. He's had the same success as young Lee over here, so he's got a...
Well, it's a good performance for him as we watch Craig Dack. So Hogan will go on, I think it's safe to say now, go on and take this win. There he is, bike number 15, Lee Hogan from Victoria. A magnificent ride, certainly had everything thrown at him in this race, but he's handled the pressure very well. And there's big gap there, as you can see now, between first and second.
Yeah, there is. We better not talk too soon, though, because in the sport of motocross, anything certainly can happen. We see Craig Dack now rounding that top berm here at Appin, and he's been riding remarkably well. All he has to do is really just stay consistent. I think he'd be thinking that now. I don't think he's going to be charging too hard and going to make too many errors because he's pretty comfortable there in third. No one's really battling there to take over that position there in fourth. Shane King's dropped off the pace a little bit now, and these riders seem to be pretty stable there in these three positions. But, you know, like I said, anything can happen, Dennis.
Yeah, absolutely right. But just recapping the top three, it's Lee Hogan leading the race, Glenn Bell now in second position, of course, and tailing out in third is Craig Dack. And that just about looks as though it's going to go in the third race.
Yeah, we might see some style points here over the tabletop for young Lee. Yeah, he likes showing off a little bit, young Lee, but I suppose all young boys do, don't they?
Just setting himself now for a run at the checkered flag to take out the third race, the third 25-minute moto. There it is, and a great performance, a great win by Lee Hogan from Victoria, taking the checkered flag. Officially placed second was Glenn Bell on the Honda machine, and coming in third was Craig Dack riding bike number 5. Well, one rider who showed out strongly was Eddie Warren, but faded through the field, and at the press day we spoke with Eddie Warren.
Looking towards Sunday, the first round of the Mr Motocross here at Appin, expecting a big one?
Yeah, this is probably our first outdoor race that everybody's been at together, and I think everybody's looking forward to Mr Motocross just getting started up again. Last year it was in Null, you know, so I think it's going to be a big day, yeah.
Any extra pressure by wearing the number 1 plate?
Well, yeah, I've seen it happen a lot of times, guys that have the number 1 plate, a bit of bad luck with that, but hopefully, you know, we've worked hard, you know, and we've done our homework, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just coming here to race, and whatever happens, happens.
Okay, so now let's turn our attention to the leaderboard after round 1 of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross Series, and there you see at the top of the point score, Craig Dack on 55 points. Deadlock in second position there between Lee Hogan and Glenn Bell. And the rest of the points there, Shane King on 39 and so on down, Michael. But Craig Dack, the man they've all got to beat.
Certainly is a great first round, and that's going to be great to see Lee Hogan up there as well as Glenn Bell, Shane King and James Deacon. So it's going to be a pretty hairy second round, I tell you.
Certainly will be, and that's coming away from Broadford. Well, here's Broadford in Victoria, side of round 2 of the 1990 Mr Motocross Series, sponsored by Castrol, and a picture that really says everything, a very dark and gloomy Broadford.
It certainly is, and we're just going to have some footage now of the riders' briefing early in the morning where there was a little bit of controversy, so just listen up.
That is it. We had a couple of riders go past me, a couple of riders nearly run over me, and did a couple of laps.
Obviously Mark Kirkman not too happy.
Out there wrong, and we've only got to make the alteration straight before a race.
Well, the organisers told me there was a practice yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
like
ridiculous.
You wrote earlier, he tells me that there's only going to be 3 laps just prior to that date of the day again.
Well, that's wrong, because this is a professional series. We're meant to be professional.
David Armstrong having a few words to say to the officials of the meeting.
3 laps. It's like going back to the mini bike.
Well, it's either that or everybody else only gets 2, Darryl. What would you rather, 2 or 3?
We were doing practice yesterday. Yeah, it's not.
How long is that?
15 minutes?
Well, that's a really bad attitude to take.
All right, any other questions?
Okay, Craig, 2 wins in the third in the first round of the Castrol Mr Motocross at Appin, just southwest of Sydney a couple of weeks ago. You must be pleased with your performance.
Yeah, extremely happy. I mean, it was we put a lot of work into that race to try and get off with the series on a good start, and our preparation paid off. I rode very well. My conditioning was good, the bike was great, and it all worked out very well for us.
Yeah, unfortunately the first 2 races didn't have very good starts for you, and you managed to work your way through the field quite well, I thought.
Well, yeah, that's one of the good things about it. I mean, not getting bad starts, but the fact that I was able to come through, and it just showed that my speed was quite good, and I was able to do it from the back of the pack. So since then, I've worked a lot on my starts to try and improve the starts, and I feel like I'm starting much better just to try and make my work a little bit easier, because you know, coming through in a packed field like that, anything can happen. Another rider take you down, or just your own mistakes. So if I can get out of the gate much better today, it should be much better for me.
Right, Peter, overall 7th in the first round of the Castrol Mr Motocross at Sydney's Appin circuit. Were you pleased with your performance on the day?
Well, no, not at all, actually. The plan was to sort of finish in the top 3. I didn't do that for a few reasons. I just didn't feel real comfortable on the day. I was nervous. You know, arms were pumping up. Just the usual sort of problems that shouldn't really occur. But I feel I'm on top of that now, and I'm looking forward to Broadford.
And not too far away from a start in round 2 of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross Series, coming your way from Broadford in Victoria, Dennis Newland and Michael Gilbert bringing you the action for Carrick Video.
Yes, Dennis, good morning. It's very cold here this morning, I can tell you. As you can see, all the riders lining up for the first moto of the day. And we're set for a start now. The 10-second board's up. They've flicked it over to 5 seconds. Any time within that 5 seconds, the gate is about to drop. And they're away.
And it's the charge of the Light Brigade here as we set off on the first of 3 motos, and riders battling for those vital early positions.
Yeah, they are. They bunch quite dramatically up there into the top corner of Broadford. It's a very long straightaway, and it looks like Eddie Warren has pulled the whole shot there, followed by Andy Hayden and young Lee Hogan.
That's right, as we try to watch these riders through the fog and the gloom and the mist, and there's a bit of a problem there at the tail end of the field as riders attempt to sort themselves out.
Yeah, as they head back down to this circuit, it's a very up and down circuit, Dennis. Looks like Eddie Warren there is making a little bit of headway, but Lee Hogan is really charging. We saw his performance in the first round, and looks like it's going to be a telltale tale of the first time.
Yeah, certainly. Lee Hogan, the form rider of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross, riding extremely well. I was really impressed with his performances at Appin, and it's good to see also Eddie Warren being competitive so early on in this first moto.
Yeah, it is. We see Andy Hayden there, number 13, opting for the outside, and now he's bustling in there right behind, and he's taken over Lee Hogan. Now, these 3 are going at it hammer and tong there the first lap. I mean, Andy Hayden and Lee Hogan probably a little bit more experience on this track than New South Welshman Eddie Warren.
That's right too. Michael, how does this track differ from the Appin circuit? Is it, as you say, a more difficult track to ride?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different terrain, Dennis, as well. It tends to loam up a bit more, and what I mean by that, you will find, before the beginning of that jump there was a lot of quite large jumps, and it's quite difficult sometimes to be concentrating and following in those ruts and really keeping your bike propelled in one straight line through those ruts. Now, as you see, the riders heading up onto the main straight. Now, this is a long fifth gear straightaway. Craig Dack there moving on the outside of Eddie Warren, and this is really showing the horsepower between the Kawasaki and the Yamahas.
Yeah, very good comparison test there, Michael.
Yeah, it is. There we see Craig moving around through the fog there. They're getting out of view there for a second. Eddie seems to be holding out Craig, but Craig's moved to the outside there, flicked the bike around a little bit, and there we go, Eddie into the inside. Glenn Bell too, there, number 2.
That's right, and Craig Dack, a good performance there, a good pass too, and just leaving Eddie Warren adrift there. So there's Craig Dack on screen riding bike number 5, and here's Eddie Warren coming once again. However, there's bike number 15, Lee Hogan, and riding strongly, and not too far behind there in second position is Andy Hayden from South Australia. So Lee Hogan, the race leader, and in second position is Andy Hayden.
Yeah, you just saw Craig Dack's pit crew there giving him a message that's probably to turn the wick up a bit and really get motivated and start getting towards the front, because the longer he leaves it, obviously in these muddy conditions, the less his visibility is, and the harder it is for him to make a header on these front guys.
I guess they'd be going through the tear-offs at a much more obviously rapid rate than on a sunny day. I guess that's one thing that these riders in this condition here today, these conditions, very hazardous to say the least.
Craig Dack there did a classic move on Andy Hayden. Andy thought he was going to opt for the inside line, so Andy took it. Craig moved to the outside, and obviously just showing the skill and talent of Craig. Marlboro and Yamaha, as well, along with Craig, have been working fantastically this year, and obviously it's showing here at the second round.
Yeah, they're a great combination, aren't they, Mike?
They certainly are, and I think we're going to soon see Craig making a big charge for the lead there onto young Lee.
Well, I would say it's pretty imminent there as Lee Hogan still continues to lead this race. But Craig Dack just about poised to strike. And yes, now moving right up there on the inside of Hogan. Hogan fights back again on the outside. He's got the line into this turn, and Hogan resumes the lead. Here comes Craig Dack once again. But Hogan doing a beautiful job. Dack down the inside and has the line into this bottom turn. And now Craig Dack takes over the race lead, but still Hogan loses ground there, and now Craig Dack consolidates that front running.
Yeah, the Dack attack at the finest. This guy is just a master when it comes to passing manoeuvres. He reads every single line like a book. It seems as though he knows Broadford like the back of his hand, but obviously he's ridden on it just as many times as these other riders that we see going up the main straight. It looked like Lee Hogan there.
Yes.
Yeah, that is Lee actually moving on Andy Hayden, number 13. 2 Victorian riders here, and
Andy Hayden's been going well too, actually. He's shown some good form.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, I'm just trying to pick up.
It's still Craig Dack leading, and now starting to open that margin. Bike number 19 there just went through as the rest of the field. There's Eddie Warren, of course. He's got a bit of work to do now. Also there, Dale Britton from Western Australia on the Yamaha, as the rest of the field. And bike number 17 and bike number 12 there. Bike number 17, Shane King, and Lyndon Heffernan also there on bike 12.
Yeah,
field now starting to string out around this Broadford circuit.
Yes, Dennis, it's a very long circuit, and the riders will show it in fatigue as the race progresses. There we see Craig actually, as you can see, he's taken off his goggles, so I think he would have run out of tear-offs there somewhere along the line, and has had to take the goggles off. Now, that is a little bit of a risky exercise, because debris, rocks, shale, especially on this track up that main straight, with the torque of these bikes and the rocks propelled at a great rate of knots at the rider's eyes. So Craig Dack opting for that, and maybe something he wished he wouldn't have done.
I guess, however, though, Michael, he's glad that he's out in front, not
well,
trying
that's
to
right.
do it from the back.
Yeah, no, that's correct too, Dennis. Yeah, he's making He's making a good advancement there. Andy Hayden's still back there in second. Andy has a good show. So there we go, getting a pit signal, possibly just telling him how far through the race he is and what sort of a gap he's pulling on Andy Hayden, number 13.
That's right, and there's the third man on the racetrack at the present time, Lee Hogan. So the top three consolidating now as Craig Dack leads, Andy Hayden and Lee Hogan back there in third. Bike number 2, Glenn Bell.
Yep, just in front of him actually we saw young Suzuki mounted Steve Maguire. There we go, Stephen Andrews as they come through now. Lyndon Heffernan and Dale Britton, number 8.
That's right, Dale Britton on the from Western Australia on the Yamaha machine, riding bike number 8.
Yeah, it was a long way for Dale to travel.
Certainly is. With your experience in motocross, Michael, what is the strongest state within Australia as far as motocross?
I would possibly say both New South Wales and Victoria are much of a muchness. Western Australia have very sandy tracks, a lot different to this. So actually there you saw on screen just a while back in the Team Yamaha jacket onlooking the races. Oh, God. And that's young Ben Parise, and he's taken out a branch of that tree there. God,
beware of the overhead hanging tree.
Certainly is. He opted for that inside line and having a bit of trouble getting the bike started now. Here we have Peter Melton and Jason Marshall from WA now heading up the main straight. Jason's bike is accelerating really hard there from the Marlborough Yamaha teamster there of Peter Melton. Also we see young Dean Burt. Now that's the conclusion of that race. Now it was a big finish there by Craig Dack. Andy Hayden, number 13, in second, and young Lee Hogan, Victorian rider, in third place as the rest of the riders filter off the track. Earlier in the morning we had a chance to speak with Eddie Warren, and I'll switch to that interview now.
Right, Eddie Warren, 8th overall in the first round of Mr Motocross at Appin. Well, we're not used to seeing you this far back in the field.
Yeah, well, I don't like being that far back. You know, I'm really disappointed with the result. But, you know, all year I've been riding 2 classes, and we're used to having a lot of practice. Well, there's so many classes on this Mr Motocross day that we don't get very much, and I'm having a real problem with arm pump-up problem, yeah.
What do you think of this ruling about not being able to ride in the 2 classes now?
Well, personally, I don't like it. I would prefer to ride 2 classes because it would help my problem. Obviously, I'm thinking of myself, but you have to. I enjoy riding 2 classes because it keeps me warm all day. As it is now, we ride practice at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and then you know, we sit around for 3 or 4 hours before we race, and it just can't happen. I mean, not in any other sport do they expect an athlete to go out and perform on a cold body, you know, that's not properly warmed up. Maybe not everybody's having the same problems, but I'm having a real problem, and I don't like it. Yeah.
Well, certainly Eddie Warren having a few words to say there about that ruling, somewhat controversial ruling. Away and racing now in the second moto of the day as the riders battle for positions as they run to the first turn.
And a big fall back there. It looked like it was Phil Robinson and Alistair Maxwell. The camera's actually not showing back to it, but I saw them both go down. I think that could be a possible restart. They're both lying in the middle of the track. Neither one seemed to be moving. You should see Marshall's running to their aid. It could be a possible problem,
Michael,
yes.
still at this early stage.
Yes, it is. That's bad luck there for Phil Robinson. Gee, I'm a little bit worried about that. I hope they're okay. I still can't see any movement in either of the riders.
But as I say, riders now continuing on. There we are. There's the scene of the accident.
That's poor Alistair there. He seems to be okay there. Seems to be in a bit of pain. Oh no, that's poor Phil.
Well, a very, very dramatic start here.
Yeah, it certainly is. They're just moving Alistair over there to the side of the tyres. Well, they seem to be just working away there at Phil. I hope there's nothing too serious is the matter with him. Yeah, poor Phil Robinson. He doesn't seem to have very much luck here at this track. I remember many years ago, he was racing here at the Kid Motocross series at the Mr Motocross, and he had a couple of big get-offs. So obviously not too much luck here at this Broadford circuit.
Is that fair enough up there? Yeah.
Okay, just about set now in the complete rerun to the second moto of the day. Certainly bad luck, Michael, for those riders involved, and we certainly hope they're quite okay.
Yeah, we certainly do. All my wishes go out to Phil and Alistair.
Okay, ready and racing once again in the second moto, and a jumble of riders heading up to the first turn. Looks like Eddie Warren quickly into stride there. He'll be one of the early pacemakers as they negotiate turn number 1.
Yeah, Jason Marshall also there in third spot. Eddie holding that line, moves out quite wide there. Oh, Jason on the outside. We've got Andy Hayden in the middle of the sandwich, so...
Yeah, that certainly allowed Andy Hayden to move up there quickly on the inside of Eddie Warren. A jumble of riders in that very tight turn there too. And now riders in the field starting to spread out in the first lap of the complete rerun for the second moto of the day.
Yeah, it's very hectic, especially the first lap. All riders are trying to push as hard as they can to get past as many of the slower riders as they possibly can, because there we see Craig Dack. Big mid-pack start there, and he's going to be... faced with
well,
the
he's got the job ahead
the...
of him, Michael. Craig Dack well back there at the start. Eddie Warren doing it nicely at the near the top of the field there, or in actual fact leading. Eddie Warren certainly needing to pick up some points too. And also Andy Hayden and Lee Hogan in contention. Lee Hogan, rider we've already spoken plenty of, and he's riding extremely well. Bike number 13 there is Andy Hayden. Here's Eddie Warren still calling the tune at the top of the field. Eddie Warren there, but right behind him and taking the race right up to him is Andy Hayden.
Yeah, here we have Steve Andrews and Steve Maguire battling out there for 4th and 5th place. Both Victorian riders and both young guns at this stage of the race. They're battling very hard now. They've got the likes of Craig Dack to contend with, charging up their rear. So.
Well, one just ran off the course there, actually. Just picked up out of camera just on the run into that bottom turn. But here's Craig Dack, and picking up the placing, starting to already make his run through from near the middle of the pack, in actual fact. Craig Dack on bike number 5, and right behind him there is Shane King in the Yamaha from New Zealand. But Craig Dack on bike 5.
Yeah, as we see now, that look at those ruts, they're getting very deep there. As it's so wet, the riders are pushing through them, and they've really got to negotiate those properly, unless the front wheel can kick out and can actually spit them out of the bars. Here we have Peter Melton and Craig making a move on his teammate there. Both riders looking very comfortable, and doesn't their gear look good?
Yeah, and just ahead of them is Stephen Andrew on bike 4. So Craig Dack and Lee Hogan also there too is, as I say, looking now just concentrating on Craig Dack there. But riders strung out virtually all around the circuit here at Broadwood in Victoria. This is the second moto of the day. Craig Dack going up high there. Now ducks down low onto the inside there of Stephen Andrew. And this is a great scrap here. Here's Craig Dack through, has the line for the turn, and picks up one more placing. Good riding there by Craig Dack.
Yeah, Stephen didn't want to give that away there, but the more experienced Craig actually chose a better line. And there we see Jason Marshall ripping a tear off in the air. So that was pretty gallant stuff from him as he got really high over that jump, giving a message there from the pit crew to Craig as he makes a move on Steve Maguire, the Suzuki rider.
Oh yes, and picks him off too beautifully, making strong progress is Craig Dack. But just trying to check up the top placing at this stage. Eddie Warren running very strongly there as we concentrate. Oh, Craig Dack goes a little high there, or as we say in Speedway terms, a little high on the turn. A little bit different to speed from Speedway.
Yes, Dennis, it is. And as we sit up here, it's a great spectacle, this track. We can see nearly all of it, and it's great for the spectators as well, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. Oh, there's no doubt that the spectacle of motocross racing, it's great value for money, and the fans certainly getting their money's worth with this very popular Mr Motocross series. Of course, it was inaugurated way back in 1974, and the winner that year was Trevor Flood, and over the years been won by some very, very talented motocross riders.
Yes, that's correct. Actually, Andy Hayden, as we see him there on screen, is sponsored by Trevor Flood. That's one of his sponsors with that KTM Castrol team. They help him out with a lot of suspension. They import all White's power suspension. So, yeah, Trevor, a lot of these riders, after they've finished a career, they take...
They still continue their involvement in the sport,
yes, they do.
That's right. And
but getting back to the action now, we see actually Craig moving up on Eddie. Now, they're going to be taking the same line. Craig's opted for another line. You can see the back end kicking around all sorts there. Craig's making a bit of a move there on the inside, but Eddie's shut the door.
Well, this will be a good battle. Oh, Craig Dack going right up. Oh, and tucks down beautifully there.
Yeah,
but
he does.
Eddie Warren blocks the move.
Yeah, he does. Oh, Craig, beautiful move through there. He just held it on. The power of that thing is just awesome. Craig.
Boy, wasn't it evident there?
It certainly was. Now they're heading up onto the main straight here, and here's Glenn Bell going for a big move on Jason Marshall. Now as he heads around the outside, he can't tuck quite as deep. There we see Jason pipping him up the inside there, but the more seasoned
good
veteran,
pass there by Glenn Bell.
Look at Glenn. Look, yeah, another tear off there. He's obviously having a bit of trouble with the mud, as they all are.
Yeah, conditions far from ideal today at Broadwood.
I tell you what, very, very, very cold up here. I know that.
So I guess there was some credence too in what Eddie Warren said earlier on about the practice, and then these riders in cold conditions like this would really want to get on with the job, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would. Arm pump up is a major factor in motocross racing, and like Eddie was saying, for them not to be able to allowed to ride 2 classes, that was promoters' idea, so they could actually give some of the younger guys a bit of a chance to make it up on the 125cc program format and actually get a bit more exposure for their sponsors. And here we have Andy Hayden making a move on Eddie. So Eddie's having a bit of problems with that arm pump up, but obviously he's fallen back now a number of places and he's obviously having real troubles.
Yeah, bad luck indeed there for Eddie Warren, but good riding nevertheless by Andy Hayden. He's really been one of the star performers here as we look now at Eddie Warren on screen on bike number 1. But Andy Hayden and young riders like Andy Hayden, there's Glenn Bell on the Honda machine, and he's making a good fist of this particular race, the second moto of the day. Glenn Bell on screen, bike number 2.
Yeah. Glenn has got a magical style and puts a lot of effort into actually pumping iron, a lot of training before each event, as do all these riders. But Glenn takes it. If we ever see a shot of him in the pits or whatever, you will actually notice he looks more like a bodybuilder than a motocross rider. A lot of muscles there on Glenn, and as you can see, he can throw the bike around very easily.
I mean, it goes without saying these riders take their motocross so seriously, but how much time in the gym would they spend, Michael?
Well, they spend probably considerable less time in the gym as they do cycling and doing other cardiovascular exercises, like running and cycling, etc., because that's the part they really have to concentrate on. Now they've got to really concentrate on their breathing while they're out there. They've got to deep breathe to get the oxygen flow through, because it's a long time out there on that bike, and
sure
like
is.
I said before, it's the most physically demanding sport in the world, which a lot of people don't seem to realise. They think it's just getting on a bike and turning the throttle, but it's not that at all.
Well, it's far from it, isn't it? As Craig Dack takes the checkered flag now for the second moto.
Andy Hayden there in second.
That was a good ride.
Yeah, it certainly was. And there we have
just trying to pick up these minor placings there.
That was number 1, Eddie Warren. He looked very disappointed there.
That's right, and Glenn Bell was the next one across the finish line.
Dave Armstrong there heading across, and Lee Hogan. So a good ride by all those riders. Obviously, Eddie Warren a little bit disappointed with his efforts, but hopefully he'll overcome it there in the next moto.
So now, Michael, we'll just recap those placings. Of course, officially placed first was Craig Dack, Andy Hayden second, and coming in third was Eddie Warren. So a good effort there. And now we cross to an interview recorded earlier today with Glenn Bell. Okay.
All right, Glenn, second overall in the Castrol Mr Motocross at the first round at Appen. Were you pleased with your performance?
Yeah, I was, because going into that race I hadn't ridden for 3 weeks because of my knee operation, and I knew my arms were going to have a hard time holding onto the bike. So, I'm pleased with the second overall, and I just hope I can go better here.
Yeah, everyone seems to be having trouble with their arms pumping. Is it because each round you've got maybe 2 or 3 races, between the Mr Motocross rounds itself?
No, I think it's because we've been racing so much Supercross, and you've got to relax on the bike and really flow with it. But on the motocross track, you've got to stay out the back of the bike a lot, and it takes a lot of pressure on your arms, and I think that's the problem. You've got to hang on a lot tighter on these outdoor tracks.
Yeah, they've made a lot of changes to the Appen circuit. What were your impressions of the new format for the Appen circuit?
I think the format of Mr Motocross is a lot better, with the 3 125 legs and the 3 Mr Motocross legs, separated. I think it's a lot better format for everyone. And the Appen circuit, I think it was the best circuit I've ridden, especially at Appen. They've changed it a fair bit, and especially over the years, and I think they've done a really good job.
Yeah, a lot of people arriving there thought they were coming to a different circuit.
Yeah, I think they were. You know, they weren't expecting such a good circuit because in the past it hasn't been such a good circuit. So
I noticed the handguards on your bike. A few rocks on the track down here at Broadford.
just a few. You know, the roost that the bikes throw out is pretty hard on your hands. So you know, the roost guards on the hand guards, I mean, really help.
Okay, we turn our attention now to the third moto in round 2 of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross series, coming to you from Broadford in Victoria, presented by Carrick Video.
Set for a start now.
Away and racing too, and this is the most important, as we've said before, the most important part of the race really, and boy, plenty of charges there.
Dave
Mike.
Armstrong got a great start there on the inside, so too did Eddie Warren. That's another hole shot for him.
He's good at those hole shots,
yeah, he
Mike.
certainly is, certainly is. And we've got Stephen Andrews here coming up in third, so that's a good start for the young Yamaha Teamster.
Riders already sorting themselves out. The front runners looking particularly strong there as they negotiate that particularly tight turn. Very difficult in the opening lap, but down the bottom section of the course there, first, second and third going through. Just trying to pick up these riders as they come through.
Yeah, look at that. Gee, God, we've got a bunch of riders there. There's Craig Dack, another mid-place start. God, he'd be so disappointed with that. He really would be. I mean, he puts in such a big effort, and like he said before in that interview, he's been working on his starts. It showed it happened, but obviously it's not showing very well there. There we have young Tony Fenton there, number 100. He's been having a pretty poor effort the last couple of rounds, and a little bit better of a start for him, but
still a long way back though.
Still a long way back, and a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, watching this bottom turn, and Johnny Fenton, Tony's dad, Johnny Fenton, former Australian speed car champion in the world of speedway racing, of course, and one of the promoters of the motocross series this year.
Yeah, Fenton and Sean, they put on a great show. They're the ones that have brought motocross back to this country, and they've done it in a big way. So they put in a lot of preparation, and you know, everything, all credit must go to those guys. They do a great job.
Well, they certainly do, and just harking back to Johnny Fenton as far as his speed car racing days, one of the very, very best speed car drivers to come out of Western Australia, and very, very well performed. A national champion more than once, Johnny Fenton, in his speed car racing days, and it's great to see him still involved in some form of motorsport, and he's really doing a good job with these motocross series.
Back to the action now, and we see Glenn Bell made a big move there on Craig, but it was a rougher line there, and his back end was kicking all over the place, and Craig seems to head him up there to the top turn, but they hit a lap rider there. He must have had a big spill earlier on, but there we go. Oh, that's Shane making a hit on Eddie. Gee.
Boy, oh boy, didn't he clean him up there?
He certainly did.
And Shane King there on the Yamaha. And here's a good scrap also going here too between bike number 5, Craig Dack, of course, moving up through the field. And as Michael said, having to really...
Oh, Craig on Deacon now. He moves to the inside. Look at that. Gee, Deacon doesn't want to let him through. I tell you, James Deacon on number 9 there from Queensland. Yeah, we'll see this part of the track here. Look, Deacon took a good inside line there. It was a little bit quicker. And now he's moved up there behind... that's Troy Doran there, number 20. So Craig... Oh, Deacon, this sandwich Doran in. Look at this. There's 3 of them heading down, 3 abreast of this thing. And Doran's hold the wick up. And, oh, God, he's nearly slammed Deacon's front wheel out of him then. So Deacon's just annihilated.
Certainly unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable action in round 2 of the Castrol Mr Motocross series. And here's Craig Dack on screen, and charges up through there on the inside, but Troy Doran from Victoria coming again, but Dack gets the better of him.
Yeah, he does. Dacky's moving through there. There's Glenn Bell just past Deacon as well, so they're both on the charge, these two guys, and I'm sure Glenn's going to be heading on Yamaha mounted Doran any second now, number 20.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. The rest of the field, as you can see, going through there. But, Michael, some absolutely brilliant battles out on the racetrack. Absolutely there is. Brilliant racing.
Look, we can't look back. We've got to look back at the other guys on the circuit as well. There's Craig making a move on Dave Armstrong now, and he's pushed him right over the other side of the track. A big jump there by Craig. heads around that corner. Now we've got Craig making a move on Andy Hayden there, number 13 on the KTM. Gee, Craig's opted for that tight inside rut. He's passed.
It was a beautiful inside pass, but and Hayden coming back again, but Dak eventually does get the upper hand here, but that was a great battle there, and Dak just moving a little bit ahead, but Hayden not out of it yet, but just loses a little on that bottom turn.
Okay, here we have Shane King heading up on the main straight now. He's pulled a big lead now on Eddie Warren, and he's certainly putting down the pace now on this third moto of the day.
Yeah, Michael, there's Glenn Bell, not too far away from the checkered flag either, as King continues to lead from Warren and Dak. There's Eddie Warren.
Yeah, look at Eddie now. He's a picture of style there as he heads up the main straight. You see his hair flapping in the breeze there, a telltale sign of his days back in the US of A.
Okay, bike number 17, Shane King, not too far away from the completion of this one on the last lap now. There he is down into the bottom section of the course. Shane King from New Zealand.
That was just, as you just saw Eddie passing his pit crew, just giving a signal that +4 for Dacky, so it means that Dacky is closing in on him.
There's Craig Dak. But I think time's going to beat him on...
Gee, big mix up there with Craig. He grabbed a little bit too much front brake there and nearly went into the tyres, and he nearly went over the bars. So nearly a big bail there by Craig that managed to save it.
But there's King on screen once again, and having ridden absolutely beautifully in this third race, the third moto of the second round of the series. Doing it nicely out in front.
Yeah, he is. Warren's a little bit too far back now, and Dak behind him. So I think they'll settle for these places as they head up towards the finish line. I think Shane will be happy with his performance in this moto. And
there it is, going across to take the checkered flag was Shane King. Eddie Warren will take second, just waiting on third place to get a Craig Dak. There he goes across the checkered flag now as Glenn Bell, the next one through. They in turn were tailed out by Armstrong as the rest of the field completes the third race. There's bike number 13.
It's Andy Hayden.
Officially placed 6 on the racetrack. Troy Doran, the next one through.
Yeah, I think that was Stephen Andrews there. He probably wouldn't have been too happy with that. Neither would Britton, who finished behind Andrews.
Time now to take a look at the points after round 2 of the Motocross Castrol Mr Motocross series, and the top of the leaderboard is Craig Dak. There you see 110 points. Yeah,
Glenn Bell's there in second on 84, and young Lee Hogan, the Victorian rider, on 72. Now that's a great showing from him. Down the ladder we see Shane King there in 4th spot.
So now we turn our attention to round 3. This is coming to you from Tivoli in Queensland, round 3 of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross series.
Okay, they're set for a start here in the first moto of the day, and it's a very, very long starting grid, and there's a lot of riders lining up there, so it's going to be pretty chaotic in that first turn, Dennis, I tell you.
Well, Michael, how does this circuit now compare to the previous 2 circuits?
Well, this circuit, Dennis, is very, very loamy and very sandy, so it's a little bit, it's probably about the same length. And now we've got a big start, and you see them all bunching in there, and one rider just catapulted off, was heading towards the crowd there. It looks like Glenn Bell there.
Well, he's certainly got a lot of ground to make up.
That wasn't very good. Looks like James Deacons pulled the early hole shot, and I think we've got Peter Melton there in third, with Craig Dak just getting block past there and stepping back a few places. So some exciting racing here, I tell you. Look at these guys.
Well, that was a really good start by Deacon, wasn't it? Quickly into stride there.
Yeah, Deacon's down there in that corner. Gee, he's going to be frustrated with that, I tell you. Few angry words to say. I think his front wheel got clipped there and was taken out by another rider. So very disappointing there for James.
Yes, it was indeed. There's bike number 4, Stephen Andrew from Victoria. He's giving chase to Craig Dak as they go over the hump there down into the bottom section of the course. Oh, and Craig Dak, a beautiful outside pass. Absolutely superb, Michael.
Yeah, it was. That was on Dale Britton. Now he's going to move up here on David Armstrong, I think. Now there's a 3-way battle here. There's Craig, who wants to move up on
yes,
David.
That's right. Yeah.
Look at that, gee. Into this, as you can see by this circuit, it's a little bit tighter than Broadford, where Broadford was a little bit open space there. Craig ripping off a tear off from his goggle as he goes over the Yamaha tabletop. That's actually a crossover in the middle of the track there. Something very different that usually only happens in Supercross events.
That's right, but there's the boy doing it at the top of the field. Peter Melton on the Yamaha. Skipped well clear too, in actual fact.
Yeah, David Armstrong there. He's riding magnificently well on a privateer Yamaha. Not as much factory support as these other two riders, but now Craig Dagg putting in a big move on him. Now, see, Craig jumps really high there, and Peter had to offer the outside, and Craig had the drive from the corner. And
absolutely brilliant.
Great stuff there by Craig. Now he's actually moving through.
Into second position.
He has moved
now
into second position.
And this of course, opens up another interesting situation here too, with Peter Melton, the race leader, and now, of course, Craig Dagg there, as you can see, closing that gap. And these riders being team riders. Does Team Tactics come in here, Michael, or what's the situation from here on in?
Dennis, I'm sure the boys would have been told before the meeting that it doesn't really matter. It's fend for yourself, and it's a no fear factor out there. Peter's certainly not going to let Craig pass or anything like that. Well, they're just hoping for a really good race here.
Well, Peter Melton's certainly showing his intentions. As you say, he's not prepared to give up the lead for anyone, let alone his teammate.
Certainly not Craig Dagg. No, there's no love lost between these guys. Craig's going to have to work hard.
The Yamaha riders riding 1-2 here. A great spectacle here at Tivoli in Queensland. There's Peter Melton, and right behind him, the defending 3 times Mr Motocross champion, Craig Dagg.
Yeah, I'm sure the Marlborough boys and the corporate boxers would be pretty happy about this. Yeah.
They'll be
now look at see there, Craig ripping off another tear off. There we have Dale Britton, Steve Maguire, Stephen Andrews, number 4 there. Gee, they're all coming through. I see Lyndon Heffernan there, number 12.
King also there too, going through. But here it is. Here's this.
Craig's back. Oh, gee, that was a good move there. Melton managed to hold Craig out a little bit there, but Craig's moved around to the outside of the corner. Oh, God, this is great stuff, Dennis. Look at this.
Absolutely brilliant. Craig Dagg on the outside. On the inside, it's Peter Melton. 1-2 for the Yamaha team. Peter Melton on bike 3. Craig Dagg on bike number 5. Absolutely brilliant racing here.
Craig loves that outside corner, and he's jumped higher, a little bit further there than Peter. And he's moved to the inside. But Peter holds it on a bit longer and blocks him again. Gee, that's amazing stuff there. And Craig's just moved back through, yeah.
Well, there it is. Craig Dagg now taking over the race lead from Peter Melton, but I think it's fair to say that particular struggle was easily the best of the series so far, but we've had some absolutely brilliant racing, I hasten to add, but that was just superb out in front there between the 2 Yamaha riders, Dagg and Melton.
Yeah, it certainly was. Now we've got a little tussle here between, I think it's Shane King and Glenn Bell.
That's right, yes, Shane King there and Glenn Bell.
There's a heading back through this part of the circuit. There's a number of jumps and a lot of hard braking bumps before the corners. So you're either inside or outside. Like as you can see, Glenn Bell taking the outside there, just a little bit smoother and got the run to pass. To pass Shane. Yeah, it's very important to pick your lines here on this track because an inside one could cause you a great deal of strife, I tell you. Okay, Dale Britton there heading up in the main straight now, followed in hot pursuit is Stephen Andrews. Stephen Andrews was flying around this corner now. They both hook into the inside rut there. Stephen's trying to set up Dale for a bit of a pass there. They've both opted for the outside of that big high bank berm. Oh, Stephen Andrews, big jump there, landing right alongside Dale Britton, number 9. Oh, gee, Stephen, he's just holding it on, I tell you. Gee, that was for 3rd place, and great pass by Stephen, wasn't it, Dennis?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely superb, and Stephen Andrew is really putting on a show here this afternoon. Absolutely cut back now to Craig Dagg. He's the race leader, and doing it ever so easily now out in front, having a dream run at the top of the field, but he was certainly made to work hard by Peter Melton earlier in the race, but are now consolidating that race lead.
All this year, Craig's starts haven't been the best. I'm sure he's not too happy about that either. But obviously having to work himself through the middle of the pack all the way back up to the front has taken a toll on the guy.
Oh, yes. There's Stephen Andrew now on bike number 4. And, of course, that is a Yamaha-powered machine. Stephen Andrew yes. On bike number 4.
Steve Andrews, sponsored by Team Yamaha and Answer Clothing. There we see David Armstrong in 4th position.
That's right, yes. David Armstrong there, position number 4 on the racetrack at the present time.
Yeah. Here we have Eddie and Eddie Warren, number 1, a little bit further back in the pack. That's Shane King also there on number 17. Eddie making a bit of a move there on the inside.
Yeah, just attempting an inside pass there too. And now draws up level with him and goes ahead.
Yeah.
But
they make it look so easy, don't they, Dennis?
Absolutely. There's bike number 2, Glenn Bell.
Oh, big head. Jeez, he just went over the bars there. That was Glenn Bell. He's kept the clutch in and just his face planted big time. He would have grabbed the whole mouthful of Tivoli dirt there.
Absolutely right. But it's not been his race.
No,
he went off the track earlier at the start.
He certainly
there.
did. Not too much luck here in this moto, I tell you. Now here's Eddie making a move on Steve Maguire there, number 10 on the Suzuki.
It was a good pass.
Yeah, it was. Suzuki mounted Steve Maguire hasn't been having a good run this year. His Suzukis have been working really well. I think he's just getting up to race fitness.
Okay, there's Eddie Warren on bike number 1. Laps now starting to dwindle.
Yeah, they are. As you can see, Steve Maguire there on the outside of Phil Robinson and Lyndon Hefferman, New South Wales guy. Lyndon is a long-term campaigner of the Mr Motocross series and always puts in remarkable results. Lyndon and I are quite good friends and we train sometimes. So Lyndon is a really hard campaigner and a seasoned veteran at this Mr Motocross series, I tell you. There we have Craig Dack now forging out in front. He can't seem to put a foot wrong, can he?
Oh, he can't. He can't. That's right. But he's really consolidated that lead. Has a big break now. Riding beautifully, Craig Dack.
Just a rider letting Craig through. That's always good to see. Sometimes these riders do get quite frustrated with lap of traffic because they get in their way. They're not knowing if they're going to the left or the right-hand side and can easily cause someone like Craig Dack to DNF. By that I mean do not finish a race.
But generally, though, I think, Michael, they're pretty courteous, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. I've had a few races, you know, a few lappers try to race me on occasions, and I'm
right?
sure, yeah, all these guys have had. So it can become quite frustrating.
Okay, Craig Dack there. Beautiful style of this rider, absolutely superb. And as we mentioned earlier, of course, Craig Dack looking for his own piece of motocross history by becoming the first man to win it 4 years in a row. And it's looking pretty good, but still some tough racing lies ahead.
Yeah, it is, and that's a good win there by Craig.
Certainly brilliant.
Yeah, it
absolutely.
certainly is. Peter Melton there coming across in second.
Equally good ride.
Yeah, it was. David Armstrong there in third position.
Next man across the line. Okay, so
that was actually a Yamaha 1-2-3 finish. So
it was a good effort.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Strong effort, that one.
Getting set for the second moto of the day here. Going to be a quick start. Okay, I don't know who's going to get the whole shot. Going to be a hectic race. There and they're off out of the start there. I don't know who's going to get the whole shot, but looks like James Deacon, an early contender. Glenn Bell was in there also. Stephen Andrews I saw, so as they bunch up now into the first turn. It's David Armstrong. Gee, he's been a consistent starter. Look, we've got James Deacon down there on the inside.
And
Dale Britton.
Craig Dack also has made a good
jumping
start
onto the tyres. God, these riders are going everywhere. Gee, and look at that now. Look, we've got Dale Britton there. Another great start from this young lad.
Certainly was. Craig Dack right up near the head of the field too. There's Glenn Bell and bike number 9, James Deacon from Queensland, also coming right into play here. Ducks down low on the inside there, but it's Glenn Bell leading.
Yeah,
James.
Glenn's just going to be concentrating now on keeping all his lines and trying to keep off the pack from behind him, because I know when you're out in the start, like in a Mr Motocross race like this, a lot of things are going through your mind, I tell you.
Stephen Andrew there too. He's moving up strongly, as is...
Craig Dack coming through on the inside, past two riders there. That was... gee, he just passed David Armstrong and Dale Britton like they were standing still. Looks like... look at Andrews. He's just following Craig's...
He is, isn't
lines
he?
there,
That's
yeah,
right.
he is.
Stephen Andrew picking up the line and certainly right up into contention. This looks as though it's going to be a tremendous race, this one. Here's Craig Dack right behind him there. Stephen Andrew taking the race right up to Craig Dack. Absolutely brilliant performance from Stephen Andrew.
Yes, they're heading onto the main straight. We see Glenn Bell pulling a bit of a head on. There's James Deacon and Craig Dack. Stephen Andrew as well. Look, they're swamping all over the Queenslander.
But Craig Dack...
Craig nearly took his front wheel out then. That was heroic stuff by Craig. Deacon's going to be wondering what's happening on the number 9 Honda, I tell you.
And of course, while all this is going on, Glenn Bell leading the second moto of the day here at Tivoli in Queensland.
Look at Andrews now. He's made a move on Deacon and he's made it stick. He's headed on the inside on those braking bumps. It looks like his Yamaha is actually handling a little bit better than James's Honda.
That's right too, and pursuing right on the tail there of Craig Dack. But here's Craig Dack on screen, but Glenn Bell still the race leader. There's Craig Dack, Stephen Andrew still right in contention.
They're in third place, yeah. Look at him. Look at. I think Stephen really wants the win. I think Stephen's charging hard now. He's taking the inside run there, and he's moving right up on the back wheel of Craig. Craig's going to have a really hard race on his hands with Stephen.
Also James Deacon there too, Michael.
Yeah. Let's hope James can actually see the race out. Look, big air time. He gets the thing crossed up all over the place. Does Dacky. I tell you what, they don't call him the Dack attack for nothing.
Absolutely, and he's just honing in right now on Glenn Bell. Glenn Bell still leading. But God, boy, oh boy, he's certainly got a hard charging Craig Dack. Oh,
look at that, right to the tyres, and Craig nearly jumps on his head. Got Craig into the lead there. Glenn just a little slight mishap with his concentration.
And that's all it needed.
That's all it took. I mean, in motocross, that's all it takes, Dennis.
And so Craig Dack, the new leader now of the third moto. Craig Dack.
James Deacon there.
James Deacon also running very strongly.
Yeah, I think he's in fourth now. Oh, look, Stephen Andrews just in the blink of an eye is just past Glenn. So these two are charging up there.
Boy, are they ever.
Gee whiz.
Just some great...
They're in the lead. I mean, Craig just seems unstoppable. There we see Eddie Warren and Peter Melton in mid-pack.
Well, I guess it's fair to say we know how good a rider Eddie Warren is, but I guess it's fair to say he's really been outclassed, hasn't he, here today?
Yeah, I honestly, Dennis, I don't know if it's more outclassed. I think he's just got to gain the momentum here on the open
he's
outdoor tracks.
That's right. He's brilliant indoors, but this is a whole new ball game as far as every race meeting today.
Gee,
right?
look at, Stephen is hard charging now. He's right on the button. He passes Craig. God, that was a fantastic move. He just jumps straight over the top of him. Craig is going to be frustrated with that, and he knows he's there now. Certainly he's going to try and track him down.
He certainly will. This race is not over by a long way, and it's still Stephen Andrew from Victoria, and right behind him there is Craig Dack. We're setting ourselves, this promises to be a great finish, this one. Still plenty of racing left in this race, though, as Craig Dack moves in, and the race leader, Stephen Andrew from Victoria, but Craig Dack taking the race right up to Andrew.
Yeah, that was a great move by Stephen, and Stephen just seems to be throwing the bike around. He's just very, very confident now. He seemed to have gained his racing legs, and he's off. He's away.
That's the thing, Michael. He is absolutely confident and leading and doing a beautiful job.
Yeah, we've got Peter Melton down there. He just bailed in that corner. I didn't quite see it, but yeah, he's down and recovered quite well.
So it's still this enthralling battle at the
Steve Maguire there, number 10, Suzuki rider, obviously not having a good day either.
Certainly not.
This track is certainly taking its toll.
Very demanding, very, very demanding.
Certainly is.
So there's also...
there we have Peter Melton now on Jason Marshall.
Okay, so Jason Marshall there. There's Eddie Warren. I guess as you say, when I said not necessarily outclassed, but certainly Eddie Warren just off the pace here today.
Yes, he is. He certainly is, Dennis. And well, I suppose
still a brilliant rider, though.
He is a great rider, but he obviously won't be too pleased with his results so far in the series.
Why do you think that is, Michael? Eddie Warren, absolutely brilliant indoors, and yet just not as competitive here. Well, speaking for today, anyway, not as competitive.
Basically, I think Eddie's just getting used to the Australian circuits, and it will take him a little while. They're on their last lap now, so we're going to see some dramatic racing. If Craig's going to do anything, I think now's the time he's going to have to strike, because Stephen Andrews is looking very strong out front. So unless he makes a mistake, I don't think Craig's going to ahead of him. This will be a big upset for the young. Stephen Andrews, only 17 years of age.
Well, we could be heading for an upset here as we wind down the distance in the second race. But there's still absolutely nothing in it. It could go either way.
Yeah, it certainly could. I tell you, Craig has moved right up now on Stephen. He's made a charge on the inside.
Well,
would you look at that?
Superb, just superb.
some great racing here today. I'll tell you what, they're moving up to lapper traffic. Now, this is the time that could tell. That lapper doesn't get out of the way. Craig could quite easily... Now,
Well,
so this is what's happened. Now, Craig's jumped over to the other side. They've just sandwiched that guy in. Now, Craig is really making a move here. He really doesn't want the young gun from Victoria to win this moto. So we're coming up... gee, they're tucking in tight there.
Oh, boy, they
Jackie's
certainly
all
are.
over the back end of his bike.
Absolutely. Andrew just skips clear just by ever so small margin, but it might be enough to hold out to the finish.
Well, let's hope so for young Stephen Andrew. I'm sure he's concentrating on a lot of things now, but another lapper. Gee, they had to get out of that way. They come off the main straight. Oh, Craig's opted for the inside line. Gee, Stephen's missed it. Gee, what is this going to win?
And in the shadows of the checkered flag, Craig Dack takes out moto number 2. A sensational finish, Michael. Absolutely brilliant. Craig Dack the winner.
Yeah, it certainly was, Dennis. He's throwing his arms up in the air. He shook hands with Stephen there, throws his goggles into the crowd. He can't quite believe it himself. Stephen's throwing his hands up in frustration.
He can't believe it either.
No, it's just a shock of... just a shock. That was a big upset. My heart's palpitating at 100 miles a minute, I tell you.
But what a great race. Absolutely a superb victory there to Craig Dack. Absolutely brilliant.
It certainly was. Like Craig just showing his experience there. That was just unbelievable stuff. Glenn Bell, he's coming back from the track not to know what has been happening.
So there's Craig Dack now.
Yeah, Craig's actually preparing now for the third moto. He's wearing a headband there, as you can see, Dennis. That's just because to soak up some of the perspiration. He's doing a few stretching exercises. I think that's his girlfriend there sitting in the background. Riders don't really like to be spoken to much before a race. They're sort of concentrating. There's Eddie Warren there, Stephen Andrews. Their helmet designs are all pretty snazzy, aren't they?
They certainly are. Okay, we're just about set for the third moto of the day in round 3 here at Tivoli in Queensland. Just about set for a start. The 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross Series coming to your way in this presentation from Carrick Video. Just about set to run and away and racing in the third moto of the day, and a charge down into the first turn.
Well, that's a better start for Eddie Warren. It looks like Craig Dack's also up there. It could be Peter Melton. Let's see when the dust settles. Oh, and it's Stuart. It's not Stuart, but that's Phil Robinson. Phil Robinson and Craig Dack. Well, that's a better start for him. Phil Robinson will also be happy with that. He's second place there, so Craig's pulled the whole shot there. David Armstrong's another one I can see.
And Craig Dack straight to the lead here, a magnificent start, and there he is out in front, Craig Dack, and setting this field, and a big break, attempting to open up a big lead. Here is Craig Dack as the rest of the field. There's Peter Melton on Yamaha, bike number 3.
Yeah, and that's Stephen Andrews. He's just had a bit of a tangle there. Look, Glenn Bell's nipped through.
Oh,
gee, there's all those guys are rubbing shoulders there. They're just slamming into each other.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
It is.
Peter Melton riding beautifully. Boy, he's impressed me this afternoon, Peter Melton, certainly.
Yeah, Peter's home state this, so he wants to do good for the home crowd. He's their home boy, and he wants to do really well.
Well, a home track advantage, I guess. There's Glenn Bell, too, on the Honda. Waiting on the field now to come through here, just trying to pick up this ride.
That's young Phil Robinson from Orange.
And certainly Phil Robinson not disgraced in this class of company either, Michael.
No, he's not. Well, as you can imagine from the last round, he had that really bad injury and he's come back now. He actually bruised a few ribs and stuff, and he was lucky enough to not sustain too much damage to himself.
So he's riding strongly there.
Yeah,
too.
well, here we have Dacker coming onto the main
Dack.
straight. Look, he's unstoppable, isn't he? Phil Robinson there.
And that's the rest of the field. There's Peter Melton too, trying to pick up some of these other
Steve
riders.
Maguire. There we have Dale Britton. Lee Hogan's way back in the field. Jason Marshall, James Deacon, Lyndon Heffernan. Gee, they're all back there, aren't they? Now
that's right. Lee Hogan, as you
Ben
mentioned
Lidskog there's a long-time campaigner. David Day also following the Mr Motocross series.
Well, certainly Lee Hogan, gee, he's got a fair bit of work to do in this one. He's ridden well, but
yeah, he has. Running in third coming into this round. Now, it's certainly going to tell at the end of the day when we tally the points. With Stephen Andrews doing so well, it's going to be hard-pressed to hold on to that third-place position, isn't he?
That's exactly right. I guess this is the Motocross Series really tests the riders. 4 tracks, 4 really different and demanding circuits, and it really is the consistency, no doubt, that shows through. Are there many riders from the southern states that really go well on this track, Michael, or is it really a home state advantage? Of course, outside of Craig Dack, who's unstoppable anywhere virtually.
Yeah, he certainly is, Dennis. And we see Eddie Warren charging. He just jammed through there. What a great ride by Eddie. He's just charging back through the pack.
He's showing out strongly this time, but Melton coming up on the outside of him, but Eddie Warren has it well and truly covered there.
Yeah, he certainly does. Look, there's as they fly over the Yamaha tabletop there. Look at looks like Phil's got a good run down there.
He has, yeah.
Glenn Bell head onto the main straight.
Just ahead of him there. There's Warren, and right behind him is Peter Melton.
Yeah,
Melton trying to close up there on
Warren.
Yeah,
he's moved onto the outside there. Eddie's covered his lines really well. Gets a little bit of pre-jump there before that jump and lifts him really high, gets him over some of that rougher stuff. Now he's making a big move here on Phil Robbo. Now, he's moved to the outside. His bike seems to be handling a little bit better than the privateers of Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson's got the job ahead of him being a privateer as opposed to the factory-backed riders or the heavily sponsored riders, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. Now, that obviously shows, but Eddie's vast experience certainly paid off there.
Sure did.
Yeah, we see Glenn Bell, and that's young Troy Doran, the Victorian rider, who got a brilliant start.
Look at him. Absolutely brilliant that was, yeah.
But, look, he's made a mistake there, and Glenn's capitalised it on the outside.
Hasn't he ever
Last lap,
capitalised?
yeah, we have. We've seen him move onto the inside there. Troy's going to do all he can to block him, but yeah, just Belly's hammering through there. He certainly is.
So Bell, I guess, really not actually putting down Troy Doran, but only a matter of time, I guess, before he takes him. Although Doran is going well.
Well, Doran, you can't put it past him. There could be an upset. I don't know. You know, Doran rides really well, and he's certainly proving that now.
Yeah, there's Peter Melton riding bike number 3.
He's a strong contender, isn't he? Look at Belly. Belly's just all over the track and just
great pass.
Just inside block pass, moves to the outside, sets it up for the next corner.
But Troy
should
Doran
be able to pull away now.
It looks that way now.
If Doran doesn't come back. But there we have Craig. Nice close-up of Craig there. Look at those colours.
Beautiful shot there.
Yeah, great colours on the Marlboro Yamaha.
Just a
big leap there on the main straight.
Oh, he's got this race safely in his keeping. Glenn Bell there. But Craig Dack well clear.
Oh, the thing was swapping there. Did you see the back end of that, Dennis?
Absolutely right.
That was all over the track. Craig was quite lucky there. Suspension obviously not as handling as well as he'd like.
Yeah.
There we have Melton moving up on young Troy. So Melton's moved into third place there.
Well, that's a good effort there
by
the
Peter
other
Marlboro rider. That's correct.
Right. Good performances there. Good performance by Peter Melton. But Troy Doran, he really hasn't been disgraced, has he?
No, another young Victorian rider, and he does well at all the circuits. He's in with a show if he can get a good start, basically, as they all are.
We keep coming back to that point, Michael. The start just so vital in this motocross racing.
Yeah, they are.
There's no doubt. Peter Melton on screen, riding bike number 3, the Yamaha.
Yeah, now look at Craig now. He's manoeuvring there into that tight inside. He's opted not to take the very central inside rut. It's probably getting a little bit too deep and causing him a bit of problems.
That's right.
So he's taking the middle of the corner. I think we have Eddie. Eddie also just passing Troy. So Troy's getting swamped. Oh, Troy gets this. So see, on the uptake of that ramp, Dennis, it's probably very sandy, and the side of the bike is flicking out there, as you saw.
Oh, yeah, that was very spectacular. Craig Dack, well clear. The third moto of the day, and this will certainly just increase his points lead. There's Glenn Bell.
As you can see, Dennis, the riders very seldom sit down in the saddle, only for very tight corners, because the longer they're staying up central in the bike, the more manoeuvrable it is. See Glenn didn't take his foot down only to there. They're up on the peg straight away. They're centering their weight as they go over the jumps, etc. You know, they're doing a lot of braking on the front.
Working all the time.
Yes, they are. Looks like Tony Fenton's bike there on the side of the track, so he must have had a bit of bad luck here in his home state.
Well, now Melton is gradually wearing down Glenn Bell there, so this could be interesting. Melton going up high, and now right
onto the main straight. He's got a good run. He's come onto the inside, and he's got a great run up there. Look at the Honda. Glenn's bike just seems to be...
well, he did that easily,
yeah,
but...
well, he did. Well, Glenn's come back up to the inside. Gee, that's great stuff, Dennis.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Peter Melton there, and Glenn Bell. But Melton now has wrapped up that second position there, has it comfortable margin now over Glenn
Glenn's
Bell.
Actually backed off a bit there. He might have had a slight problem. His hand might have fell off the bars or something. I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't see from here.
But here's the man with an untroubled run at the top of the field, Craig Dack, as the laps start to unfold. Shouldn't be too much further to go in this third moto
Yeah, I think we might be coming up to the last lap now, Dennis. I'm not quite sure. I can't see any boards out. Craig's obviously
doing an easy run.
Well, he is, yes.
If there is such a thing as an easy ride in motocross. But yeah, he has this race safely in his keeping, it appears anyway. Not trying to preempt anything, but certainly appears that Craig Dack has got this race safely in his keeping.
Yeah, up over the Yamaha tabletop there.
Just riding ever so easily.
He is. He's actually concentrating now on the sheer fact of finishing the moto with not too much problem. See, as you can see, he's virtually just cruising. Look up on the pegs.
Yeah, not a problem at all for Craig Dack.
He's not going for any style points there. He's just onto the straight. He's looking around.
Just the Sunday afternoon ride, virtually. There it is. The check
Fist in the air. That's all he had to do was just concentrate on consolidating his lead and just holding on to it. He's very happy about that, I'm sure.
Well, he's certainly consolidated his lead.
Yeah, well, he's pulled a big lead. Look at that. We haven't even seen second place cross the line yet.
Just there it is now.
That's Peter Melton.
So another 1-2.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm sure the Marlborough boys will be pretty happy about that, and so too is Melton. His home crowd goes pretty wild when he does some spectacular racing here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, Stephen Andrews finishing third.
There they are, the top three, and there's the placings. Craig Dack officially placed first. Coming in second was Peter Melton, and tailing out third with an equally good ride, Michael, was Stephen Andrews.
Yeah, popping the champagne there. Obviously, Stephen and all the boys now can enjoy a good celebration there. They're showering each other with champagne. It's something they should enjoy, isn't it? Look at the girls in the background there having a bit of a laugh. Peter's obviously a bit smug there. Craig has a bit of a smile. So they should.
And welcome to the fourth and concluding round of the Motocross Series from Gilman in South Australia. A beautiful day here, and Craig Dack certainly in the box seat, leading the point score and looking really good with 170 points. And earlier today we caught up with Craig Dack.
Well, yeah, it's been a very good series for myself and the Marlborough Yamaha dealer team. We started off very strong at Appin. Then we went to Broadford, another strong day. Then also again in Queensland, the Tivoli round, where Peter Melton and myself, my teammate, we finished first and second. So, you know, that gave me a good points lead into the last round. Now I have about a 47-point lead, and I need 1/3 place in any one of the three races to take the championship. So, well, that's what I'm up to. That's what I wanted to do today.
Well, we believe you had a bit of bad luck with the bikes yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of those days when you go to work and everything you touch or everything you do just doesn't work out. Yesterday was one of those days. We had a few motor problems, and I swapped to the spare bike, and the shock fell apart. And it was just one of those days that was not very productive at all. However, on the positive side of it, it's good that everything happened yesterday, and hopefully everything's ironed out, all the problems and bugs are ironed out for today.
Here we see Stephen Andrews just watching the practice session, picking out a few lines, and we had a chance to speak with Stephen earlier in the day.
Stephen, whereabouts are you coming in the points table at the moment, going into the last round?
I'm fifth in the series at the moment, so hopefully able to move up after this round.
And fifth place behind Eddie Warren?
Yeah, Eddie Warren's running third at the moment. I haven't seen him here as yet, so I'm not sure whether he's turning up, but hopefully we'll have a good day today. I'm hoping to move up to third.
It's a very fast track here at Gilman. How'd you go in practice yesterday?
Practice went fine, the bike's going well, and everything's good right up to now, so hopefully we have a good day, things will go well.
Okay, riders now preparing for a start in the first moto of the day. Just looking at the point scores, Michael. Of course, Craig Dack leading on 170 points. In second position is Glenn Bell on 123. And tailing out in third, certainly picking up the leeway there, is Eddie Warren on 93 points.
Yes, he is. We've also got Lee Hogan there in fourth. We're nearly ready for a start in the first race of the day. So we've got a number of hopefuls here, and like we're speaking with Stephen Andrews before, hopefully he can move up a few places. It's a big start here, and they off down the first into the first turn. It looks like Steve Maguire. What a blistering of a start.
Oh, that was terrific.
That
absolutely
look
terrific.
At that.
And he's cleared well clear. Stephen Maguire.
Well, he has
from
a very sandy track here. Gee, we've also got Craig there. Craig and both Peter Melton, number 10, way back in the pack.
Well, Peter Melton, Michael, has scored 72 points. he's a little adrift of the leaders there, but there's bike number 10, Stephen Maguire.
We've also got Andy Hayden there in third place. He's the hometown hero here at this meeting, so it should be interesting to see how well he does. And they get high over those tabletops, don't they?
Boy, do they ever. Absolutely high and really riding superbly here. Beautiful day here too. So great motocross action coming your way. There's Stephen Andrew on screen.
There we see Glenn Bell also. Glenn Bell in second and Andy Hayden in third.
That's right, Glenn Bell in second on the racetrack and second in the points score.
Good start there for Shane King. We didn't see much of him in the last round, but he's really showing his form here this morning.
That's right, but number 10, the man doing it at the top of the field is Stephen Maguire. And so, Michael, now just talking about this particular circuit, I guess what can we expect from the riders on this particular circuit?
Well, it's a little bit like our last race meeting. The track is quite sandy. Oh, Stephen, gee! That was Shane King. He nearly passed her. I think Shane got such a shock. He nearly looped out. There you have Stephen doubling that back straightaway. He's really on the hammer now, and he wants Glenn Bell really bad. Look at that. His bike's just swapping all around the place, but he's managing to control it, and they're all after Steve Maguire.
Oh, yeah, indeed. A high-speed circuit, this one, Michael, and Stephen Maguire leading there. And
it's Craig Dack. Look at him. And Lee Hogan. All battling in on.
Wasn't that a beautiful inside switch there by Craig Dack as he takes the race right up to Lee Hogan on bike number 15. Lee Hogan having ridden consistently throughout the series. Lee Hogan, bike number 15 there, as we watch now Glenn Bell on Honda, bike number 2. So Glenn Bell, and a beautiful leap there by Craig Dack, and he pulls up right again on the outside there of Lee Hogan. This is a good battle, this one, Michael. There's Craig Dack on screen and taking the race there to Lee Hogan, and Craig Dack switching down to the outside, but it's still Lee Hogan doing it beautifully and holding out Craig Dack. There's Glenn Bell. Glenn Bell there too on screen.
Yeah, Steve Andrews, another hard charger. Look at him. He's got Andy Hayden in his sights, and I'm sure he wants him real bad.
Oh, that was a beautiful.
Look at Dacky taking the inside there, holds it tight. It's an off-camber corner, and he's just showing his style, isn't he?
Oh, isn't he ever?
See the suspension moving around there underneath him. He's actually letting the bike pivot as he stands up there under the foot pegs. He's got a great style, a very classic style. He's not a showboater at all, but he's got a classic style, our Craig Dack, the Dack attack. A big double over the back there. Stephen Maguire, the young gun for Team Suzuki, they must be really happy with his performance.
He's riding brilliantly, Michael.
Look at that. Andy Hayden knows the track, doesn't he? He's
Well, this is where it gets interesting now, because although still Stephen Maguire leading as we cut back there to Craig Dack, he's closing in on Glenn Bell. Glenn Bell and Craig Dack. That's where the two riders on screen there.
Yeah, it is. Now we've got a big battle. We see Stephen Andrews move around the outside of Maguire, both Victorians, and they're doing their state really proud, aren't they?
Oh, aren't they ever? And that was a really good pass there by Stephen Andrew.
Yeah, Andrews has got the pace when he needs it, and he just jammed through there. He held his line really well. You see Glenn Bell and Craig Dack here, old teammates from the Mr Motocross and Gold Cup days many years ago, and now they're arch rivals out on the racetrack, Team Honda and Team Yamaha respectively.
And isn't it an enthralling battle as once again Craig Dack moves up on the outside of Glenn Bell, but Glenn Bell beautifully shuts the gate. Here's Craig Dack looking for a run through on the inside. Oh, a beautiful inside pass there by Craig Dack, and that was a great ride. Now Glenn Bell trying to fight back.
Straight. Look at that. Yeah, oh look, Glenn's gone for the inside move. I don't think he's going to shut the gate on the
Craig Dack right around the outside, but this is holding the interest of the race fans here. This absolutely enthralling battle between Craig Dack.
Oh, Craig swapping around all over the track. God, I thought he was gone. Then he's making a big move on Maguire. Gee, I don't know, Maguire's going to handle the pressure or not, but they come back onto the main straight now. Craig has a quick look behind. I don't know, Maguire's going to have to set his sights now and really concentrate. You see Glenn, you see Craig, sorry, look at him go. He just was unstoppable through there. He is so fast and so consistent.
Just went through on the inside at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Oh, he's a freight train, isn't he, Dennis? Look at him.
As the rest of the field goes through there too, but, you know, and there's bike number 6 there.
Oh, that's Daryl King from New Zealand. That's Shane King's younger brother. Gee, he's riding well too.
That's right.
He's currently in 4th. I'm just getting the places mixed up a bit here. The confusion's getting to me. I'm getting a bit too hyped up, Dennis. I'm sorry.
But there's bike number 17 there too, Shane King, and he's holding down 3rd position on the racetrack at the present time. Stephen Andrew there on bike number 4. But the
King brothers are doing extremely well, aren't they?
My word, my word. And Daryl King from New Zealand on a Kawasaki on
Here
bike.
we have Peter Melton making a move. Paul Maguire's just got swamped by these riders and he doesn't know what to do.
Yes, yeah. Rode superbly earlier on in the race, and looks like he's down around about 6th position now on the racetrack there.
Yeah, he is.
But there's Peter Melton now warming to the task of attempting to get around the outside.
Oh, he got a good drive out of that berm. He kept the power in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Peter Melton moving up through the field. There's Craig Dack. And Craig Dack currently placed 2nd on the racetrack. Still Stephen Andrew well clear at this stage. So Stephen Andrew leading from this man in 2nd position, Craig Dack.
Yeah, it's a Dack attack. He's got a picture-perfect style, hasn't he? He's riding really well today, but there's the man that's forged ahead.
And hasn't this man ridden brilliantly?
He certainly has. He's been riding extremely well. He's really showing some professionalism here, this young Victorian rider riding for Team Yamaha. He's got it all down pat, hasn't he? His form is the new crop of the new kids on the block, and they're the ones that are certainly going to be challenging the likes of Craig Dack and the veterans like Glenn Bell.
Well, of course, his consistency right through the series, Stephen Andrew, and currently in 5th position on the point score, Michael, with 83 points. And as you say, riding a Yamaha and from Victoria, and consistency, that's the key to success in series such as the Mr Motocross.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Stephen knows just as well as anyone that if the consistency's there, he will certainly be the winner at the end of the day. This rider is showing that he is a force to be reckoned with in Australian motocross here as he heads up now and towards the main straight. He's going to take a very good win there from Craig Dack, finishing in 2nd as he waiting for him to head onto the main straight. Yeah, Craig would be happy with that performance as well. 3rd place we have Daryl King, the New Zealander. Oh, back in the pack. That was Phil Robinson, launched himself onto Steve Maguire. Maguire can't believe it. He's throwing his hands in the air. He's holding his wrist. Phil Robinson is not moving at all. Stephen's walking off the side of the track. He can't believe it. Phil just launched off that main straight jump and just landed on top of him. Poor Maguire. He's frustrated. The kid can't believe it. He had such a good run now. There's nothing he can do. Phil Robinson's lying in the middle of the track. Gee, it's just a horrific thing to see.
We're speaking with Glenn Bell at the 4th round of the Mr Motocross at Gilman in South Australia. Glenn, you're coming into the final round in 2nd position. What chances do you have of knocking Craig Dack's #1 plate off him?
It's going to be fairly difficult because he has such a big lead. He's got 47 points on me, and you know, he'd have to have something major go wrong with his bike, or you know, DNF every race, or finish out the top 15, and I'd have to win every moto to catch up. And plus, I've just come back from injury, so this is my first outdoor race, and you know, hopefully I can go out there. I'm aboard the new 91 Honda, and it's running very well, so I feel very confident in the bike and myself.
You've just been out for the practice run for the day. How's it seeming at the moment?
It's a bit muddy out there, and it's roughing up quite well, and as I said, the Honda's running very well, and I feel very comfortable out there. But you know, as I said, I just come back from injury, and you know, I just want to go out there and try to consolidate 2nd place. Like, I have a fairly big points buffer between 2nd and 3rd, so you know, it'll be sort of very unlikely that I'll finish behind 2nd place.
Yeah, we think Eddie Warren's coming in 3rd position, but nobody's spotted him here at the moment.
No, last weekend at the Sydney Entertainment Centre, Eddie hurt his hand. He fell off in the 125 race, and that's why he's not here. He injured himself, and that's what I don't want to do. I want to race the Australian titles next weekend and try to pick up an Australian title like I have done the last 5 years in the 125. So hopefully if I can do that and get through that, I'll be going over to the Motocross of Nations.
Yeah, well, as like Craig Dack, you're aboard the new 1991 model Honda. How's that compare with the last year's model?
They've made great updates on the bike, especially in the suspension department, and that's where it was lacking in 90 models. But you know, 91 model is running very well, and you know, as I said, I feel very confident on the bike, and you know, I think it should be up there.
Well, best of luck today, Glenn Bell.
Thanks a lot.
Just about set for a start now in the second moto of round number 4. Ready and racing in the second race of the day. And looks like Maguire, Michael, one of the best to begin there too.
And Maguire's pulled the early lead there. He's pulled the whole shot. It's held down there in that first corner. And Stephen Andrews hard charging straight away on the inside there. We've got Glenn Bell and another good start there from Daryl King.
But, boy, Stephen Andrew, just a beautiful inside pass there, taking over the front running. Also, Glenn Bell right up near the field, and Craig Dack there up high.
Yeah, Daryl King was just on the inside there. Nearly took Paul Craig out. So there we go, Stephen Andrews as he goes over the back straightaway tabletop. Maguire in second and Craig Dack in third by the looks of it.
Yes, that's
no,
right.
Actually, no. Look, we've got Glenn Bell.
Yes, so there's Stephen Andrew doing it nicely out in front there. Bike number 13 also there is Andy Hayden from South Australia, and he's ridden consistently too. But watching the riders go over that hump there now, but it's still the rider on bike number 4, Stephen Andrew. There's Glenn Bell having a titanic struggle on the opening lap.
Oh, Glenn nearly loops it out. He had to check the back brake to bring that front end down again. Look,
ducks down beautifully.
He just takes over Dack again. This is a great battle. Look at this.
Isn't it ever? Dack trying to get through there on the inside.
Early stages of the race.
Great riding by Glenn Bell. And there's Craig Dack. Now one coming through on the inside there was...
That's Daryl King from New Zealand. Gee, he's making a big comeback. Look, he's charging strong. It's him, Dack and Belly there. They're all having a big old battle. Look, there we go. Daryl back on the inside.
So they're battling for third, fourth and fifth.
Oh, race fans, this is what we've come to see. Look at this. It's great racing. Look, onto the main straight now. Now Daryl King powering down. Belly holds it on just a little bit longer. Shut the gate, no way. Here we go on the outside, look.
So there it is now, and Glenn Bell there too, and looking for Craig Dack, yes, right behind Glenn Bell. There's Glenn Bell on screen. Here's Dack right around there on the outside, over that hump once again too, but Craig Dack taking the race right up to Glenn Bell, tries to get through on the inside there, and bike number 15, Lee Hogan, also coming into contention.
He's coming in for a bit of a battle as well, so we've certainly got a struggle now. We've got Maguire, Darrell, Glenn Bell number 2 and Craig Dack number 5, so great racing. We've got young Lee Hogan, the Victorian rider for Team Kawasaki, coming in to join as well.
So, but still, I think you will find, just checking on these positions, but Stephen Andrew, the young Victorian rider, he's ridden absolutely beautifully. Bike number 10 is Stephen Maguire from Victoria, and these two riders here, the two Victorians, absolutely superb on this circuit here, and there's bike number 10, Stephen Maguire.
Maguire's just smoking them today, honestly, Dennis. He's getting off the line really quick, and he's just capitalising on that. So is young Stephen Andrews. And this is what these riders have got to do. They've obviously taken advantage of the poor starting of some of the other top contenders, and they're just taking that into consideration, and that's what they're doing. They're doing their job. This is their job.
That's right.
They're at work today.
That's right. This is a day at the office.
It certainly is.
But Craig Dack, I guess too, Michael, he wouldn't be too concerned with such a big points advantage. It's really virtually he's just got to finish a place.
Yeah, that's right.
He's really wrapped up the series.
That's certainly right. I think you'll find that Craig will be riding conservatively. Well, maybe not.
Maybe
Look,
not.
as we see him just here charging. He's just a charger, isn't he?
That's right. But
Look at him.
I mean, there he is there on screen, bike number 5.
They call him the Iron Man of motocross, and he certainly is. He's just so much stronger and fitter than the rest of these guys, and obviously it shows.
Oh, it certainly does. Does it ever?
Now, as we see, he's making a battle here on Maguire. Now, Maguire maybe he's going to tire, I think. Dackie's working away at him like Maguire's going to know he's there.
I think it's only a matter of time, Michael, actually.
Look, Dacky moves to the outside there. Shane King also, Daryl King also following there some of Dackie's lines, hoping to pick up the smoother line there. As you see, Dack chases to the inside, move to the outside of that corner. The back wheel flicks out a little bit, manages to keep it under control. Oh, and Craig Dack around the outside, he nearly loses it. God, that was just a major mistake there for Craig. He lost concentration. Now Daryl's moved through. Gee, we'll see, that's what can happen, Dennis. They make one mistake,
That's
and it
exactly right.
means positions.
That's exactly right. Darryl King, the New Zealand rider, really pressing Craig Dack there. Great riding by Darryl King. He's really, but Craig Dack just opens an advantage now. Just a little bit of a breathing space there between Craig Dack and Darryl King. And once again, resuming this battle with bike number 10, Stephen Maguire, beautifully around the outside by Craig Dack. Oh, great pass by Craig Dack. And he's riding brilliantly, just about in the stages now of absolutely asserting his authority on the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross Series. But
Craig's doing a great job. What about Stephen Andrews? He's out there in front, and there he is now, number 4. He has a little quick look to the side there to see how far in front he is, and he'd actually be breathing a sigh of relief, wouldn't you think, Dennis?
I think so. I mean, with these great dices back in the field...
Well, they're slowing each other up, aren't they?
That's right. That's exactly
right. And we've seen it time and time again, and now...
So Stephen Andrew has really taken this race by the scruff of the neck as we watch Craig Dack. But Stephen Andrew,
look at that. That's just copybook stuff. Did you see that? He rounded that berm like it was just... He had the handlebars digging in the dirt there in this soft loam here. Unbelievable. This is what the fans want to see, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And now we find bike number 15, Lee Hogan, just starting to close in there on Darryl King. A beautiful inside
Lee comes
pass.
On the inside there. Is he going to shut the... He shuts the door. Oh, that moves him into third. What a great move there.
That is a good ride. But there's the race leader, bike number 4, your race leader, Stephen Andrew.
Well, a lot can happen in motocross, can't it?
Well, it can. He certainly hasn't... the race is not over until the checkered flag falls.
Yeah, well, until the fat lady sings, I tell you.
But certainly Lee Hogan, boy, he's ridden really well in this series.
Yeah, he's been consistent, and that's what we've talked about all along in this Mr Motocross series. Consistency certainly pays. And look at Lee Hogan.
Well, in 4th position with 85 points and going into this final round. There's Darryl King, bike number 6. He's ridden well. I've been impressed with Darryl King. Bike number 6.
Yeah, Shane King a couple of places back there in the field. It'll be interesting by the end of the moto to see if he comes up through.
Yeah, Lee Hogan, bike 15. And still the race leader, having a dream run at the top of the field. We watch Craig Dack there. Race leader is Stephen Andrew, still well clear.
Yeah, he certainly is.
I guess, Michael, it probably would be hard to maintain full concentration knowing full well you've got such a commanding lead going into the final round of the series, virtually having already wrapped up the series. I suppose Craig Dack could be forgiven for just a lapse in concentration.
Yeah. Look at Darryl King now. He's just made a move. I think, actually, Craig is just backing off just a little bit. He looks down at his bike. I don't know if there's something wrong or not, but he looks back down, and Darryl just passed him there really easily.
He just seems to be riding so conservatively, doesn't he?
I think he's just worrying about just getting the title without getting any broken bones. He doesn't want to be a big swap city and do some damage to himself here in the last round.
That's right. I think you've summed it up perfectly, Michael, as we concentrate on Craig Dack. But this, of course, equals the record of Stephen Gall with 4 wins in the Mr Motocross series.
Yeah, it does. He's done well, Craig, to pull it off once again. And like you're saying, Dennis, Stephen Gall will be proud of him, I think.
I think so. There he is once again on camera.
Look, he's looking behind now. I think he's actually pulling off to the side. I think he just let Stephen Maguire pass there. That was also Jason Marshall.
That's right, yes.
We get so caught up with the top 3 or 4, Dennis, we fail to mention the rest of the pack. But this is where all the action is. But certainly, nonetheless, there's a lot of action happening back in midfield too.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's been a great race, this one. There's Glenn Bell. But nothing to be taken away either, I hasten to add, from Stephen Andrew. But now Glenn Bell going through on the inside there of Craig Dack.
Craig just looked to the side there and sort of just said, well, OK, go through. He's just riding conservatively.
Almost as though he's not interested, really. So Glenn Bell moving up one more position now in the field. And a good crowd on hand here today too.
Great crowd, and they're getting behind all these riders. They see this race once a year, and they all flock to it. They love it. This state really is behind motocross in a big way, and they love Andy Hayden as well. They're onto the last lap now, And once again, Stephen just has a quick look over his shoulder.
He's got everything pretty well under control.
Yeah, he certainly has.
Well clear.
Yep.
And yes, as you say, it's great to see the fans in South Australia getting behind their motocross action. Beautiful day, absolutely ideal weather conditions for motocross racing.
Yeah, it is. So it's a little bit chilly here today, Dennis, but that suits these motocross riders because, you know, they get very hot and very flustered, and it's perfect conditions.
Yeah, certainly vastly different from back in round 2 in May of this year at Broadford in Victoria.
Yeah, it certainly is. That was a very, very, very cold and foggy day, wasn't it?
Well, it was indeed. But there's Stephen Andrew, as we say, from Victoria.
Yeah, has another look behind.
Yeah, he's got everything safely under control. Had a comfortable, if there is such a thing as a comfortable ride in motocross, but had an easy ride out in front.
Well, we've still got Daryl King in second place, and we've actually got Shane King in third. We've got Hogan's actually moved back. Lee Hogan, the Kawasaki rider, back in fourth.
So the New Zealanders starting to
yeah, well,
dominate.
they have the two brothers, and they have a bit of rivalry too on and off the track. So it'll be interesting. Here we have Stephen taking the checkered flag. I'm sure he's going to be really happy with that.
Oh yes, a good ride.
Looks behind. He knows that he's just got a strength.
A great effort. Yeah, a great effort. Just waiting on these minor place getters now to go across the finish line.
As I said, first place went to young Andrews, second was to Daryl King, and third to Shane King.
That's right, yes, there they go now. And bike number 15 there, Lee Hogan
finishes in fourth. Yep. Here we have fifth, Jason Marshall. Sixth goes to Glenn Bell, and seventh, New South Wales rider Lyndon Heffernan. Big, strong finishing there for him.
Okay, just about set for a start in the third moto of the day, and our congratulations are extended to Craig Dack, having now officially wrapped up the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross Series as we prepare for a start in the third and final moto of the day and the third and final moto of the 1990 Castrol Mr Motocross.
And it's Steve Maguire once again. That's 3 hole shots out of 3 starts. He's got his Team Suzuki prepared bike working extremely well. It's really fast off the gate, and it's a really long start straight, and he's done extremely well to get out in front again.
Oh, hasn't he ever, Michael? There's Glenn Bell on bike number 2, and also there through on bike number 12, we're looking at Lyndon Heffernan and Peter Melton, team rider to Craig Dack, and he's moving up also through the field there. Also there too is Daryl King from New Zealand on the Kawasaki. He's got quite a few riders to pass. Bike number 4, also on screen, is Stephen Andrew, but a good performance too by Lyndon Heffernan.
Well, look at Lyndon. I mean, that's great. That's showing his long time on the circuit now. He's moving up on Glenn Bell. He's moved underneath Belly. Good stuff by Lyndon Heffernan. This guy, as soon as he gets a good start, he's out and he's away. Outrider backed and sponsored also by Team Yamaha in New South Wales. Lyndon showing a very, very strong feel for this track, and as he has done in the other motos of the day.
Oh, yes, indeed, Lyndon Heffernan. And now one rider just trying to pick up the number there, taking the race right up to Glenn Bell. Had a shot on the inside, couldn't pull it off on that occasion. As we turn our attention back to this battle, it's bike number 4, Stephen Andrew. And, oh, beautifully through on the inside.
Pivoted that bike on the inside and nearly picked up Glenn again. But Glenn's shut the gate, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, Glenn Bell fights back strongly on the outside. But I don't think that's the last passing attempt by Stephen Andrew. Sets himself once again. And now coming into the picture also, just to make matters even more interesting, is Daryl King from New Zealand.
Yeah, well, these fly. Look at that Yamaha. Look, Glenn always opts for that inside line, and oh, gee, he nearly...
And a beautiful inside pass there by Stephen Andrew. And here's Daryl King too, also coming up onto Glenn Bell. Great racing, great passing manoeuvres by these riders in the third and final moto, and they're really making this 1990 Mr Motocross Series sponsored by Castrol really a great day for the race fans.
Yeah, Glenn just had a quick look down there. I don't know if there was a problem or what, but he seems to be having a... Oh, gee. Those ruts cause the wheels to move sideways so easily. So the riders have really got to make sure they're really on the ball when they hit those ruts, Dennis.
Oh yeah, but Lyndon Heffernan, and we've been talking about him in this race. He's riding brilliantly. There's Glenn Bell on bike number 2, and Lyndon Heffernan on 12, and the next man through is Stephen Andrew. So great performance by Stephen Andrew from Victoria. As we watch cut back now to Lyndon Heffernan, and he's giving chase. There is Stephen Andrew. Next man through is Glenn Bell, and on the outside there too on bike number 6 is Darryl King. Here's Darryl King switching to the inside, charging up on the inside, and a beautiful inside pass by...
Great move there by Darryl. Look at that. Just past Glenn. I don't know. I think Glenn must have something wrong with his bike or something. He's looked down a couple of times there. Oh, and Andrews passes Heffo. Gee. Like he was standing still, I tell you.
And that now moves Stephen Andrew up into 3rd position as we watch bike number 10, Stephen Maguire. That is these two.
I think that's actually moved. Oh, no, hang on, look. Andrews is down. Gee, he's going to be disappointed with that. Heffo moves through, along does Darryl King, but he's managed to regain it now in 4th place.
Well, that was bad luck, Michael, for Stephen Andrew.
Oh, it certainly was.
That must really just knock you... Really
it certainly does. You start to breathe heavier. Look, Darryl King now passes Lyndon. Lyndon obviously a little bit phased by that that as well.
Virtually knowing you've got to do it all over again. Stephen just picking up these placings, just trying to pick up Darryl King there. I think you'll find he's in 3rd position on the racetrack.
Yeah, Lyndon's back in 4th now, and Stephen Andrews is in 5th. Andrews is going to make a move here on Heffo, but it looks of he's left the gate right open. Heffo, he shouldn't have done that.
So Stephen Andrew now moves up one more position there.
Yeah, he's into 3rd place now, and he's going to be charging. He'd like to take another win home today, I'm sure, to move his points tally up on the cumulative point score and trying to place 3rd in this round.
That's right.
Now here we have Darryl's just moving past Steve Maguire there for 1st place. So Maguire's relinquished 1st spot.
Well,
now
Michael,
he's running in 2nd.
Well, Michael, this has been a really good ride by Darryl King, the Kawasaki-mounted rider, as we watch Peter Melton also there too.
Yeah, passing a couple of lap riders there. Like we've spoke about before, you've sort of got to be careful. But most of these riders have been around for a while, and they know what the situation is, and they will move over for these guys.
So Darryl King leading the 3rd moto in the 4th and concluding round of the series.
Gee, we've had some good action, and here we go again. It's non-stop action. Steve Maguire and Stephen Andrews, fellow Victorians, and they're at it hammer and tong. These guys just don't give up, do they?
Oh, no. And a big charge on the outside there, Stephen Andrew. But
Maguire's back on the inside. I can't believe it. He's just charging the bike. He's just pumped up. He just wants to do something with it, and he really doesn't want Stephen Andrews to pass him. I tell you, he wants to fight back tooth and nail. He's a young gun.
He certainly is.
Oh, God! Heffo's swapping all over the place. It's swap city there for Lyndon Heffernan. I tell you what, he nearly went over the handlebars there. That was a real hairy moment. Poor old Heffo. Sure he's going to have to change his underpants after this ride.
I'm quite sure of that. But still the lap's starting to dwindle. Not too much distance remaining. So here's...
Oh, there's Lee Hogan. Just passes Heffo. I think Lee put a little bit of pressure onto... the older campaigner of Lyndon Heffernan, and he sort of couldn't handle the pressure there for a second, but I'm sure Lyndon will regain and do well.
So bike number 15, Lee Hogan from Victoria, and he's giving chase to the man on bike number 10, and that's bike number 10 is Stephen Maguire.
Yeah, Steve Maguire. Now, oh, look, we've got young Lee Hogan. Oh, Heffo's past Maguire. That's a big lapse in concentration from Maguire. Moved right around to the outside.
So these positions for the minor placings swapping virtually on every corner at the moment, Michael.
Yeah, well, not just swapping positions, but oh, look like that. There's just, he looks back, he can't believe it. The front wheel grabbed that rut there, that little bit of a hole in the ground, and flicked the back out. What I say by swapping, the back end of the bike kicks about, you know, ruthlessly, and these guys can't do anything to control it. I mean, Lee Hogan was very lucky there not to go over the bars.
Certainly was.
Here we have Heffo making a bit of a comeback now onto the back of... They've just gone off screen there.
There's Stephen Andrew on screen. Bike number 4, Stephen Andrew. Just taking it carefully through that section of the course once again.
Yeah, well, Maguire's looking around now because you can see Melton's back on his tail, and Melton's going to make a big pass there. That's number 3 there for 5th place.
So that was a good pass up into 5th position.
You know, there's been a bit of controversy over the last round why Craig Dack didn't show up for this moto, but I don't think he really had to. He had to conserve himself. He didn't want to break any bones, so he stayed in the pits and he's won the title.
Well, that's all that counts. That's the whole objective of the exercise, isn't it? Which started way back on May 12 at Appin in New South Wales. Round number 1, of course, then our attention switched to round 2 at Broadford in Victoria, May 26 and 27. Round 3 at Tivoli in Queensland, June 23 and 24, and it all winds up here, August 25
it certainly does,
and 26.
It certainly does. And then we just saw the last lap board come out.
Okay, man on screen, Daryl King from New Zealand.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's riding really smooth now, and he showed his consistency all day. He's doing a great job out in front, and he's pulling a bit of a lead there. Stephen Andrews is in second. They are, like I said, they're on their last lap. We've got Lee Hogan in third, and Hefo doing a great job back there in 4th position on his Yamaha.
Certainly is doing a superb performance. Superb riding. I mean, it's been a terrific series, Michael. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, when I look back, Dennis, like you're saying, it's been a great series. I mean, what could these race fans ask for? It's been fantastic. Takes a tear off from the goggle. That sees Daryl King finish second overall in the day. We'll see Stephen Andrews come into screen in a second. He will finish first on the day, with Lee Hogan finishing third overall at this last round of the Mr Motocross series. Let's cross now live to the presentation for the inaugural Castrol Mr Motocross series.
Here is Stephen Andrew, ladies and gentlemen. Well done, Steve.